Whoa.
Hey, here we go.
Nice. Okay.
So is this it?
Yep, we're seeing it.
Yeah, we're seeing it. It's almost 8 o'clock. So you kind of do like, it looks like you have like acros on top and it's like what, Monty's on the bottom and uh
Yeah,
I see a plate.
Yeah,
I
what's
have
that coral in the front?
I guess it's a mixed reef and acro dominant mixed reef. You know, definitely prefer the sticks. The way my lighting is set up, I'll have to turn my room light on here. Uh, I'll just go over that quick. I've got you know, three metal halides and two what they are the Quanta AB plus bars in it. Right now, just the Quanta bars are running.
Okay.
Uh, the halides are these two are 250 watt, and then this one's the smaller one, the 175 watt. So I have more of my less light loving coral, the brains, I got, a definite brain corner over here, plus the hammer and stuff like that that don't need as much light. And then the stuff that needs the more intense lighting is on my right side of my tank over here. Not that the Capricornus needs a lot of light, but that just happens to be where it sits.
Okay. What kind of
So
halides are those like radions or what kind of halides are they?
they are the HQI double-ended metal halide bulbs. They're the Phoenix Electric 14,000K,
Okay.
uh, 250 watt, like I said, double-ended bulbs. I run the 250 watt bulbs. I run with the magnetic, what are they, the M80 ballasts. And then the single 175 watt is a electronic ballast. It's, oh, good grief. It's from the late 90s, the ballast is. So been around for a long time, but hey, it still works. So
Yeah, exactly. Very nice. So the pyramid is completely reef safe, doesn't nip at any corals, the pyramid butterfly?
he hasn't that I know of. I have somebody that harassed my clam. And if you look at this guy here, the Ganapora, somebody's not treating it very nicely right now. And I haven't been able to catch him. I always suspect that it's the flame angel, but I don't know that it's not the pyramid butterfly as well. So I have a couple things. I have a leather coral and a clam that have been moved into my basement because they were getting nipped. But I don't know by who. Like I said, I always blame the flame angel because he's sort of the easiest to blame. But you're right. It could be the pyramid. I don't know
Okay. Yeah,
because they
Where
don't
is
do it in
that?
front of me.
Where is that aura red planet?
Uh, this one,
Oh,
this is the contest frag right here. And actually, the one right next to it is the next one. What was that one? The
Honeybee.
honeybee.
honeybee. Yeah. So that's the honeybee frag there, right next to the red planet. And
Okay.
then
We'll
that's the red planet colony that I got from Joe before we did this. So
nice.
that's what this will hopefully look like that someday.
It's getting there. It's definitely bigger than mine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been doing really well for me. Even the one, like I said, I got this colony from Joe about a year before we did this grow out contest. So it's been doing really well in my tank. So I must like something I'm doing.
So all those metal halides.
It
Let's
must.
be honest.
I I question that. I don't know, but I mean I don't think they contribute nothing, but I don't think they are the end all be all. I like them. I'm just old school. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm just resistant to change somewhat. I
For
mean, I did put
LEDs.
the quanta bars in, so I do use LEDs. Just more as like a supplemental versus my primary lighting.
Right, right.
Yeah,
So
I'm a huge fan of the 20K radiums. That was like the nicest just lighting I ever had.
yeah. Yeah, I like the more whitish end of the spectrum, which is why I got the AB plus on the Quanta bars, because again, it's my preference. I'm not a big fan of we'll call it the Windex look, which is, the derogatory term people like to use, but
Right.
I like it a lot.
yeah,
That's very nice. Yeah.
it has its advantages. I mean, if you want the corals to fluoresce more, you need more blue lighting. My corals
Right,
don't
right.
don't fluoresce as much. So
That looks
it's that
beautiful
trade-off.
though. That's an amazing tank. All of your posts don't make any justice.
Yeah.
So,
What's that big blue coral on the left? Big
On the
acro?
left, this guy
Yeah, that
right
one.
here.
Oh, the bigger one.
Bigger one.
Oh,
It's
this
on the
guy?
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Tor
Miyagi Tort.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
That
yours
one
is
is
so skinny.
quite a prolific grower. So yes, anybody who wants a piece of it, I can break off bigger pieces than will fit in most shipping containers because it grows very quickly, very well. Nothing grows as quick as this tricolor Millie, this one here.
Oh, she's
But
beautiful.
That is the one acro in my tank that no matter what's happening, it's fine.
yeah,
It's all the acros that I got from Joe, they're fine. They shrug everything off.
yep. Well, this one's from Joe, this one's from Joe, this one's from Joe. So I've got a lot of Joe corals here.
Yeah, his corals are amazing. He has a really good coral. Like he's Ganipora done so well. It's
Yep.
like triple in size. Like his stuff is true aquaculture,
My
super healthy.
Gani was doing awesome until somebody decided that they liked eating it. So mine is doing not so well. I need to move it into my basement so that it can recover and do better.
I'm sure it will too, because
Yep.
it's such a hardy coral.
It
You got
was
some
doing great, but then within the last few months, something decided that it looked like a snack.
so,
What's this
delicious
big,
red little snack.
Yes.
so Joe, we're saying Premier Reefs, right?
Yep.
Joe
Yes.
is Premier Reefs,
Okay.
correct.
Yeah, we'll give them a little
Jay
plug.
Posh.
Yeah, if you go to Google and you type in Premier Reefs, the website is premierreefsmn.com because he's in Minnesota. Yep. Yeah, Joe's a
Yep.
good guy.
Yeah,
Somebody drop the link in the chat.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
got
yeah. Good
very
idea.
good corals. He's got stuff that is well conditioned to tank life and
Not the
generally
or
does
red
well.
planet, apparently only to halides.
Well, I can't help.
Mine has finally I started to see a growth tick come out of it, and I'm so excited. I've been
Yep.
like
Mine is
waiting like
too,
over 6
finally.
months, or
Not
however long
going
it's been.
upward though. It's like shooting to the side.
Yeah. I just find
Well,
it so funny how excited
get
you
some
get whenever
halides.
like just the tiniest amount of growth from that. I've just been staring at it every day.
So I got a question about the convict tank. Did you quarantine that yourself, or did you buy that from a QT vendor, or where that?
That one I actually got from LFS and I quarantined it myself.
Okay.
He's probably, believe it or not, double the size that he was. He was a runt when I bought him. So he's amazing grazer. This guy is just nonstop picking it. You see him right, nonstop picking at the rock. So
Was he really skinny when you got him? Like, was his stomach pinched and all that?
he was eating at the LFS. He was eating
Okay.
mysis and stuff like that. So he wasn't, and that's the only reason I bought him because they're notorious for not eating.
Yeah.
So I made sure he was eating before I bought him.
Yeah, I used to get them in and they would be like super skinny, like paper thin, pinched stomach and all that. And I started like taking some of the feces and looking under a microscope and I was seeing like internal parasites. So
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing that is kind of for some reason that's common with them to get internal parasites. They waste away and unless you can get like Metro in the food fast enough, you usually lose them. I had a really hard time quarantining those successfully.
Yeah, I put Metro in the water, but I didn't put Metro in the food.
Okay. Yeah, he's a really nice looking specimen. Very,
Yeah,
very small, very
he's
healthy.
doing well.
Very nice.
Although
This
the
is Steph. Oh, Cancun, I guess is what my screen name is. I have a question. Is what kind of parrotfish is that? A parrotfish I'm looking at? That just swam
yes, that
by.
is actually a koi parrot.
That is beautiful specimen.
Yeah, he's doing really good. I know they're notoriously difficult to keep, but he's been doing fantastic in my tank. I don't,
His colors are beautiful.
it's kind of weird seeing a fish with a beak like that and thinking that it's actually reef safe. So,
Right.
That's
So
a
he
dream.
hasn't
but
bothered
he's
any coral or anything.
no, like I said to
Oh,
my outlet,
nice.
the thing that's bugging my Gonapora, I would have to guess is either the pyramid butterfly or the flame angel, but I don't think it's the parrot.
Well,
The
he is
parrot
definitely
loves
beautiful.
to nip at the glass. He's constantly like trying to chew the coralline off the glass. So I don't know that I would trust him in a in a acrylic tank, but in the glass he
Right.
does fine.
I
And
may
I
have to
don't know
consider
that, but
that.
I would just be leery of him in an acrylic tank.
Well, thank you. That's yeah,
Yeah, I
beautiful.
wouldn't even know that.
No,
I'm
No, he's
curious about how long have you had the coins?
uh about 6 months now. So relatively speaking, he's a newer fish. I know that they typically live great for about a year and a half or two, and then they just notoriously stop eating. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But so far, if I put, I have I gotta set this down for a second. I got, let me just, sorry, I'm just gonna set this down.
Fingers crossed for you and I both then.
But when I put the nori in, it's either the koi or my, I'll throw it in quick. Yep, the koi is always the first one at the top to grab the nori. So he's very, very aggressive eater, likes is not shy with my tangs. My tangs are aggressive eaters, so he gets right up there with them and is not shy at all. So
Yeah, I've got one too, and so far it's the same way. But I have had that experience in the past where they did well for a while and then
just suddenly declined, right?
suddenly declined. Very thin, razor thin.
Yeah, he's.
They're and
I'm
it
hoping
breaks my heart because they're the most beautiful fish.
they are. I 100% agree, and that's why I wanted to try it. And so far, he's been a great fish. So
What a cool rabbit fish. I wonder where you got that from.
yes, it's a very cool rabbit fish. I will agree with you.
You should say the story.
Yeah. Oh God.
oh look
A
at him eating
rabbit
that
fish
whole
that
piece.
almost didn't make it. Now, Vince sent that one to me, and UPS dropped the package, and the bag that he was in burst. So when he arrived at my doorstep, there was maybe an inch or two of water left in the bag, and he was not in good shape. And the UPS guy saw the water all over the box, and he's like, "Do you want to return this?" And I'm like, "Well, if I return it, then the fish is gonna die." I'm like, "It's a live fish in there." So I took it out. I immediately threw it into my tank, and it was pretty banged up, pretty rough, but he recovered and has been doing fantastic. So great fish.
Yeah,
He's
I like
Sorry,
beautiful.
sorry
purple
if
or
I missed it.
quadruple
How many
wrapped it.
gallons is this tank?
This is a 180 gallon. It's a standard 6 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. It's got the two corner overflows that I'll walk down here in a minute, but it goes into my sump and filtration room is in the basement. So
Okay.
we'll walk downstairs, look at the filtration room in a few minutes.
How do you like having your sump in the basement?
I love it. I
I
wouldn't
thought
have it
about
any
doing
other
that
way.
too. That's nice.
I can have as I don't have to worry about how big my equipment is. I don't have to worry about leaks. If my sump leaks, it goes onto my basement floor, and I don't give a crap. I bring out the shop vac, I suck it up, and sometimes I don't. I just put a fan down and let nature dry it. And all right, well, while we're talking about it, I'll just unless anybody has any other questions about the tank itself, I'll go
What
down to
kind of flow do you have in the main section?
uh my main flow is this it's a MOW Jabeo MOW power head. I think it's 56, it's just under 6,000 gallons per hour. And then I have another smaller Jabeo SOW in the back, and I think that one is like 3 or 4,000. So they kind of blow towards each other, and they're both on random flow mode. So they just sort of pulse up and down randomly themselves and, kind of create the turbulence in the tank. So, I mean, it's maybe 8,000, 9,000 gallons per hour that I have with the flow. And I've calculated my return pump is maybe 800 gallons. So if we round that up to 1,000, I've got maybe 9,000 gallons per hour of flow would be the number I'd put on it.
Nice. Do you have any other like other fish or livestock that is on your wish list to add to the tank?
Yes, I have been harassing Jeff Dirks for a Achilles tang, and he apparently doesn't have a source to get them. So that one is on my definite want list.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
chocolate was one I wanted. I got that from Jeff. The pyramid butterfly is from Jeff. The three what are the chalk bass? Those are from Jeff. So I've got a lot of fish from Jeff.
Okay. I'll drop his URL in the chat too. People want to know about, who to buy from him. He's hard.
Yep.
He's months and months behind on selling quarantine fish. He's very popular.
Yes, he's my go-to guy. I mean, I prefer him because then I don't have to do it myself, but if I have to do it myself, I do. But when I do it myself, I follow Jeff's protocol. So he gets credit for the fish that I've quarantined myself, including the koi parrot.
Yeah,
Hey, this is Kevin. Can you hear me?
Yes.
When the UPS guy dropped your fish, did he drop it like on the way going into to drop off the package?
No, it was actually in a plastic bucket or a plastic tub when he brought it to my door. So it had been dropped previous to that, and either the guy knew it, and tried to deliver it anyway. But no, it was in a plastic bucket, so it had been leaking for a little while.
Or sometimes, like in the warehouse or whatever, they're like packages are on conveyor belts. They're not gently caressed the way through, so their rabbitfish are kind of spiky.
Yep.
And he was pretty big too when I shipped him. So he was like triple wrapped and everything in a giant like bag.
Oh, I think you triple bagged it, and they were whatever they were, the 5 mil bags. They were the thicker bags. So whatever it was, you could see that the bags were split. So whatever it was not just a simple little. It was a good throw or whatever that popped the bag.
I saw your Flame Angel just come out, and boy, he does not like those clownfish, or the clownfish don't like him. I don't know if they're having like
It might be the other way around. I don't know if my clownfish spawn constantly, so he may have gotten close to they spawn in that hammer coral there. So
okay.
They've got a nest in there. I don't know if they do or not. They'll lay at different random branches that's a branching hammer.
Okay. Yeah,
if he got too close to the eggs, they might have chased him. It might have been the other way around.
Yeah, they were like kind of swarming him, and he comes out and he's, how like the angels will do. He's kind of like, like kind of darting at them a little bit, It was like fish fight.
Yeah.
Your
Welcome to
clownfish
life
are
in
a
the reef,
beautiful
right?
orange.
All right, well, I'll start wandering into the fish hole in the basement. You get to go through my kitchen and down the dark stairs into the basement. Okay, so this is my fish room. So it's basically, I have a 150-gallon Rubbermaid sump as my main sump here. You can see this white pipe here. This goes through the cold air return, overflows from the two corner overflows down here into my sump. You can see all the water rushing into the bottom of the sump. I have a 3-inch PVC manifold off of the front of the sump. And over here on the right side is my main recirculation pump. And then on the other side of the T is my skimmer pump. So everything on my tank is external. My skimmer sits in the back corner here. You can see it going off of this blue line pump here and there. And then it overflows into a skimmit locker here. And then the skimmit locker has a piece of vinyl hose in it. And that vinyl hose actually wraps over and goes out my my old furnace flue. So all of my skimmer exhaust goes outside. So there's no skimmer stink in my basement. And this is my furnace. And then basically the recirculation pump goes up, it wraps around, it goes into the UV. The UV currently is turned off. I'm not running it. And then it goes up through this vinyl hose, up through again, the cold air return. You know, I drilled a hole through the cold air return and then it goes up to the tank upstairs. So that's basically the recirculation. I don't have much in my sump except for a big long spined urchin and a bunch of live rock. Everything else is just heaters, and that's the only thing alive in there is that long spined urchin, just because he's too big to fit anywhere else. And then
Do you have any plans to get rid of that urchin, or what, kind of just keep it in here?
he's not hurting anything. I don't know anybody with a tank big enough that would take it. I mean, he's literally, spikes and all, about the size of a basketball. He's pretty big. You know, I mean, the body is probably baseball size, you know, maybe a little smaller than a baseball. But the spines are a good 8 inches long. And he's not hurting anything. He's doing fine. He's, you know, eating the tube worms that are all growing on the inside of my sump. So
I was gonna ask, do you have to like supplemental feed him anything?
I haven't. He seems to be doing okay, just living off of the tube worms that are growing on the side of the tank. So he's been down in my sump for, I would guess, 2 years now. So doesn't seem to be, I mean, he can't tell me if he's happy or not, but doesn't seem to hate it here.
Yeah, looks healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, spines all look, really nice, and he looks full.
Yep.
So why do you
Sharp.
like
I've been
having
bit.
why do you like having most of your stuff external?
You know what? It's one of those things where, again, that's probably me being older. When I got into the hobby, DC pumps were a new technology, and they were notorious for having very low head pressure. And you see with my setup, having an internal DC pump with very low head pressure isn't going to work. I have to go up, I think I calculated almost 14 feet to get from my basement over the top of my tank. So I've got about 14 feet of head pressure. Obviously, things have changed over the years. DC pumps are not have gotten a lot better, and it's just my old way of thinking. I've just always done it this way, and so I've stuck with it. Really no particular reason other than early on, DC pumps were just notorious for being a flow pump. They were not pressure rated.
What kind of skimmer is that?
Kind of,
Yeah,
oh God, this skimmer is probably from 1996.
Oh,
It's called, the company that made it was called
that's
MTC.
awesome.
They're Marine Technical Concepts. They're no longer in business. It's a Beckett skimmer. It's, I'm running it on I think the one blue line pump is 1,200 gallons per hour. So it's completely sealed. So when it overflows, it goes down this hose into the skimmet locker, and the skimmet locker actually has a ping pong ball in it. So if the skimmet locker overflows, the ping pong ball blocks the air escape out the top, and then it forces air pressurizes in the skimmer, and it won't overflow. So yeah, it's got a bunch of these little nylon screws on it to keep it screwed together tightly, but it's completely sealed, so no air or water can escape. So I kind of like that feature of it. It won't ever. I shouldn't say it won't ever, but it can't overflow.
How often do you clean it?
I am not very good at cleaning. The skimmer itself, looks like that regularly. I clean it once a month would probably be an exaggeration. So it's probably more like every 2 months. And as you can see, I scrub the top section and keep it clean, whereas the bottom section is, not very clean. But that's just, build up on the inside of it. It doesn't actually affect the performance. But it's worked very well for me, even though it's an old Beckett skimmer. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love it.
Do you remember how many gallons it's rated for?
I want to say it was like 500 or 600 or something like that.
Okay. Well, that kind of leads into my question. So then, a lot of people that I know that do SPS, they're big believers in over skimming. If they've got like you got a 180, well, I think guess total water volume, you've got closer to, well, like 350 or something, but they believe in like using a skimmer that is like 2 or 3 times more than what they need. Do you agree with that?
I am a firm believer in over skimming. Yes, well, I kind of put that in that chat in the thread first, because I would have to look it up if anybody asked me what my nutrient levels are, because I really don't pay attention to them. And the only reason I know what they are is because I did an ICP test, 2 or 3 weeks ago. Other than that, I don't pay attention to it. With the big skimmer, and I have start over here. I have a 75 that I've got. This is my original 75 from when I first started my tank in 1998. And of course, I've got to, give a shout out there.
Is that an oceanic tank?
It's what was the no, it's not oceanic. What was the all glass?
All glass. Okay.
My 180 is an all glass aquarium too. So they were the big manufacturer back in the day. I think Aquion bought out all glass. So anything that is Aquion used to be all glass. So, and I believe all of my tanks are. So I've got this 75 that is basically just a overflow tank. It's the same thing. I've got a couple Quanta, same thing, the AB plus bars on it. And anything that I have trouble with in my tank upstairs, I throw down here. So you see I've got yes, that's my Durasa. And it was getting harassed by, like I said, I'm not sure who. I like to blame the Flame Angel, but he was actually nipping the mantle, and it was in pretty bad shape. So I brought him down here, and he's been doing really good. sucks having, I mean, the clam itself is a good 8, 9, 10 inches across, front to back. So, I mean, it's a huge clam, but to have it in the basement where nobody's going to see it is kind of a waste. But
How long have you had it?
I bought it. And the only reason I know this is because there was a reef show by us that happened like 2 weeks before the world shut down for the pandemic. So that would have been what, like February of 2020. So I've had it for like 4 years now, 4.5 years, almost 5.
I think that flame angel needs to go in there.
Yeah, that's all the stuff I've tried to keep the flame angel away from is now down here. So
I think that little booger needs to go.
I just like him too much. I had the chance. I tore the tank down to catch some fish, to rearrange some things, and I had the net out, and I'm like, I should grab the flame angel, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, we get attached to the animal.
How big is that?
Cool looking.
How big is that clam? Like 12 inches?
I would say probably a little less.
Okay.
I would guess closer to 10. I don't think it's quite 12 inches yet, but it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
He seems to be happy under the Quanta bars, so I'll let him go.
So
it does look nice and healthy and big.
Yeah, got a mantle is quite extended, so.
So how do you keep your calcium and alkalinity? I know you mentioned you have a calcium reactor, right?
Yes. So we're getting into the more mess portion of things. This is actually the calcium reactor here. It's just it's homemade. I've got a buddy that's really good with acrylic, and he made it for me. There's really nothing to it. It's just a media reactor with the kalkwasser, and not the kalkwasser, the aragonite in it. And back here, I've got the CO2 tank, so that's the main pump that recirculates it. I put a 4-way valve on, a 4-way T on the front. One of them injects the air, one of them injects the water. One of them is the clean water circulating around, and then the same thing. This one here is the effluent drip line, which goes up here, and I have connected to the FX STP, which is my main, effluent drip pump, and that all goes in here and then drips out here. So the one blue line you see there that's just constantly dripping, that's the calcium water from the calcium reactor effluent dripping in. And then my other pumps, I've got 2 X1 pumps here. One of them goes to the, this reaction chamber here. You can see I got the isolate trace elements. So this chamber has the trace element soup in it. So
which trace elements are those?
I have the strontium, the MT, which is the minor and trace, which is isolates kind of formula. I have the manganese, and I have the fluoride.
Is that by who is that made by?
That's Captivate.
Okay, yeah.
Number 8, Captivate Aquatics.
And
they make these isolate, different, like I said, I started out with just the MT, which is the minor and trace elements, and I've been doing the ICP tests, and as I notice things are low, then I'll add that particular bottle to it, and I've been, just slowly tweaking it. The most recent one was I think the manganese, because I think the MT comes with manganese, but it didn't have enough because mine was 0. So I bought the manganese bottle to supplement it. I've got the ICP test. I'll do another one here in another month or so, and then depending on the results of that, I'll see how I need to, tweak my trace elements.
So is that the only supplementation that you're doing for calcium and alkalinity on your tank? Was that little calcium reactor?
I have the calcium reactor here, and then next to it, this big bucket is
Uh-huh.
a kalkwasser bucket.
Okay. You do Kalkweiser then.
I do
Okay.
kalkwasser. So I've got a 19-gallon bucket here that I keep filled with kalkwasser. You can see I kind of need to refill it. It's about half full. But
Are you saturated, right?
it's fully saturated kalk. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I do too.
And I
What
dose.
what product are you using for Kalkweiser?
I dose. Making me go over to my supplement shelf here. I dose this the ESV
Oh, okay.
kalkwasser powder. It's supposedly more pure, but I don't know. Whatever.
Well,
I
it's working.
a lot of the claims, with a grain
I
of
see that you too also have a tube bin.
Yeah, I have a tube bin. I have my salt buckets, my unused media reactors that, like I said, I have a buddy that is good with acrylics that I had him make me and then I no longer use. And then this is, of course, my crap shelf with,
Aren't we all just like reef hoarders? Like,
yeah,
It was hard when I just moved, and then my fiance was like, "You can't take all those tubes," and I said, "Watch me, I'll need them one day."
mhm.
And then this is my Bobby Miller corner, my DMSO, my Metroplex, my fenbendazole, the Prazopro, the Copper Power. So, and then of course the copper.
Copper.
So
Yeah.
DMSO is getting harder and harder to find. You used to be able to find it at like Tractor Supply, and now they only have like the gel. They don't have the liquid. So I mean, you have to like go on Amazon now to find it, I think.
for which thing?
For the DMSO, you're using
I bought it on Amazon. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they have a thing. I don't know if it's just where I live. It's called Tractor Supply, where they sell for like, like horses and stuff like that. And
Yep.
people just go in there and buy that. It's where I used to get mine. And last time I was in there, they don't sell the liquid, they only sell the gel version.
Well, I thought that depends on the temperature, right? Because when I bought this DMSO, it was about 50 degrees outside and it arrived and it was like crystalline because
Oh,
the stuff has a melting temperature of like 70 degrees. So if it's above 70 degrees, it's liquid. If it's below 70 degrees, it's like crystal.
yeah.
Hmm.
I did not know that.
Very, very low or very high melting point. So,
Vince, did you know that? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. I knew there was something with formalin with certain temperatures, but I didn't know DMSO.
Don't quote me on that 70, but it's somewhere around there.
Okay. I'll have to look
What's
into
this
that.
bucket?
And then this is my RO system. It's so if you notice, everything I have is basically gravity driven. So I've got this line that comes from my RO system. I've got a little come over here. I've got a little ball valve. If you flip the ball valve, it forces the water up into through this line up through the rafters and over to my my RO bucket over there. And then I've got a little hose that I drilled into the side and I run this over here so that when it's filled, the hose overflows into my sump. And then when my sump fills, it shuts off the water because everything is tied into my sump. So then I think we're all learning new things. Yeah, I don't know about that.
No, we are.
Gravity fed. This is one of those triple sensors for the hydros. So I eventually want to integrate it into hydros so that I can shut it off without having to overflow it. But I've just put the sensor in there as a little magnet for it stuck in the bucket there. So
Nice. What an ingenuity you got going on there.
It's what?
Ingenuity got
I'm working.
engineering.
I've
No,
only
it
had
looks
the
awesome.
for a few months now. You see, I got the X3 and the X4 here. I've been slowly putting things together.
Oh, you got hydros too. Nice.
Is that
So my biggest thing was
scrubber there?
is what?
The pink canister, is it an air dryer or a CO2
This is
scrubber?
the air dryer for the Ozotech reactor.
Oh, okay.
The media is supposed to be blue when it's not saturated, but it's pink. So it's one of those where you can regenerate it by throwing it in the oven. And you can see I need to throw it in the oven.
So you run in ozone? How many hours a day, or how long do you run ozone?
I run it constantly. I have the generator has a uh has a dial on it, so you can dial up the intensity. I don't know how to describe it, but I have the lowest setting and I have it running
Through
100%.
the skimmer.
It injects into the top of my calcium reactor here, or calcium reactor
Skimmer.
here.
Mm-hmm.
So I run it pretty much 24/7, and that's another reason why I have this exhaust line going outside so that I don't have to smell the ozone.
Right. So what the load dose, what are you running at?
Oh, I don't know. I think it just says, it just says like 0 or 1 to 10 on it. It doesn't have.
Okay, just a small portion. Okay, got it.
You have to look at Ozotech's, website
Yeah.
to know what that actually related to. I have it on the lowest setting it'll go, but I run it 24/7.
Does it ever shuts down? Do you monitor the ORP?
That's what I was going to ask about the ORP. You monitor that?
I used to monitor it, but then realized that that it was just unreliable. I couldn't ever get anything. I used to, have it set up so that I actually had an ORP controller so that if, it went below a certain level, I would turn on the ozone but the sensors themselves are just notorious short-lived, and
yeah, they are.
so I gave up on it. And it was actually Jay Posh is like, run it 24/7. And I'm like, all right. And it seems to be doing okay. So I just run it at the lowest 24/7.
I have a quick question, real quick, on the ozone. I'm not real familiar with it. What kind of benefits do you? I don't mean to sound like an idiot, but what kind of benefits do you notice from running ozone?
The main benefit from running ozone is it's clarifier.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of, I don't know, tannins or whatever that get into the water and give it that yellow color to it. So the ozone definitely, clarifies the water. Bobby mentioned stuff about parasitic qualities to it too. I don't know how well it works.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
No, it will.
Yeah,
it will kill parasites, worms, bacteria. I mean, anything in the water column, right? Now, I don't know in the rock or on the fish how well it does, but anything it's actually, because it's an oxidizer, so it will oxidize or kill anything that's in the water column. So say you have ick in the tank, and the tomounts are releasing theronts, free swimmers into the water. I'm not saying it's going to get all of them, but it will disable some of the free swimmers in the water.
would you say similar to UV, but we don't know what UV does, right?
Yeah, the thing with
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with UV is that, I mean, UV, because so UV, it has to siphon it out. It actually has to go through the pump, go through the UV sterilizer, go through the light, and then depending on your flow rate and what you're trying to kill, like for example, I think velvet is probably, like, the velvet dinospores are going to be a lot easier to kill than ick theronts, because ick theronts have a much thicker cell wall. Thicker cell wall means it's harder to kill the pathogen. But yeah, ozone works kind of similar to UV. I mean, it's the same thing. It's a disease management tool is what I refer to it as.
Well, thank you very much for that information. I had no clue. Very interesting.
Yes. A lot of people say you take your tank water, do the white bucket, fill up a white bucket with your tank water, and you can kind of see how clear your water actually is. So, and there's no doubt with the UV, it definitely clarifies it. It takes those whatever that organic matter is, it takes it out.
You mean ozone, right?
Or
Not
ozone.
UV.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
There's one here and neither of them are running. So that was,
Yeah, same here. I turned mine off a while ago and started doing ozone.
I just think they do more harm than good. I'm a
I
firm
agree.
in a very diverse microbiome in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like adding mud and things like that to increase the microbiome. So
Do you use Miracle Mud?
I haven't. I've been, and I don't want to sound like an IPSF, shill, but that's where I usually go is that Indo-Pacific Sea Farms. They have mud and sand that they ship essentially straight from Hawaii. And in my mind, a lot of the stuff that we have, both coral and fish, are Indo-Pacific in nature. So I try to put the Indo-Pacific stuff in my tank.
So do you add like regularly or
It's what?
do you add regularly or you just do you ever exchange it or add new?
No, when you buy the stuff from them, it comes in like a small bag, just that you would get a fish in. So there's maybe, I would say, 3 cups of mud or sand that you get with it.
Oh, okay.
So I just dump it in with my existing sand. It's not like you're going to buy a 50-pound bag of sand,
Right.
and then the bacteria just proliferate on their own. They're living, so they just do their thing and multiply.
Very cool. Thank you.
They just only
I
other
did have
here is I've got a 40-gallon over here that I run as a Refugium that is much wall to wall the bubble callirpa. So I pull about, I don't know,
Wow.
gallons of that out every month or so. So every couple months I empty that
Harvest.
out for nutrient export.
Wow. So it's all connected to the main system, all
Yes.
of that?
This I have just basically a little power head that pumps into the tank here, and then I've got a overflow on the back, and then it overflows, through this hose and into the sump. So everything is centered around my sump. The 75, is fed from my recirculation pump to the 75, and then it overflows through these hoses here. These 2 vinyl hoses come from the 75 back into the sump. The big white PVC hose is, the main recirculation line from the 180 to the sump. So everything is single system with a common sump.
Wow, that's a big sump circulation. Lots of filters. That's awesome.
What sort of pests have you had to deal with in the past?
Biggest ones I've had to deal with have been flatworms. And
burgers.
can't say for sure exactly where they came in on, but there's no doubt they had to have come in on a coral somewhere. But I've got a local fish store guy has kind of euphemistically called it the witch's brew. The best I can tell is it's some sort of dog dewormer that he dissolves in water, and it is incredibly effective. He'll mix it up for me. I'll dump 1 dose in, and all the flatworms are dead the next day. So I haven't been able to get out of him what it is, but best I can tell, it's some sort of dog dewormer.
Did you have to do water change when they all dead?
I am not very good when it comes to water changes. This is my this RO bucket that I have here is my water change bucket. I estimate that I have about 350 system gallons, and this is a 35-gallon HDPE bucket, high density polyethylene. And when I do a water change, I'll fill this up, mix the salt in, so that ends up being about a 10% water change. In my mind, the main reason I do water changes is to, and you can see the bottom of my sump here is pretty bad. This is a black sump, but you can see all the detritus and stuff on the bottom. So I'll go through and I'll siphon all of this crap out of the bottom of my sump. And so that's my motivation for the water is the detritus removal.
You don't use like a filter sock or anything? Just this?
I'll just siphon it into a bucket and throw it out with the water and all, because that way it is still technically a water change. I suppose I could rig something up with a filter sock and just, you know, or even like a filter use it way, but I figure if I didn't at least siphon the bottom of my sump, I would probably not do water changes at all. And I don't know, it just seems, I'm not real big on water changes, but doing never like a good idea either. Was that a question? I couldn't hear it.
I don't think you need to do water changes because you have such a big filtration system for your main display. It blows my mind.
It might not be, but it's one of those things. And I mean, I don't do a lot. You know, I mean, I do
right.
a water change maybe 3 times a year, and it's a 10% water change. So I'm not changing a lot. So that's what, you know, 30% a year. So no,
do you ever have any like fish or anything that like, you know, take a water slide ride down into that sump?
Yes. Fortunately, I would like to say that I've had both of my wrasses. I have a lemon meringue wrasse and a ornate leopard wrasse, and both of them have made the slide. So
for real?
More. And I say thankfully because that means that they jumped into the overflow instead of jumping out of my tank. So
yeah. Yeah, I saw how big that tubing is, and I bet wrasses or something like eventually get in your overflow and like kind of end up down in it. Hey, at least it's a good spot for them to hang out until you can like catch them again and put them back in the main tank, right?
Do you see that there? That is my sand tub.
Just in case.
They go to sleep at night. I'll come down here and they shoot themselves into the. So I'll pull the bucket out. I can run my finger through the sand and get them back out and take them upstairs. So that's my trick to.
That's smart.
Not have to like try and catch them with a net in this big sump.
That is smart.
So it works, the sand burrowing wrasse is like that. It works well. It's a good trick.
That's amazing.
So that's my trick for the night.
Yeah, that's an awesome system. Yeah, I like how you got everything, you know, like set up. And when we were doing the test run, I showed this to my wife and I'm like, look, that is what I am going to have. That's going to be my fish room when we, you know, I'm going to commandeer our basement once we, you know, buy a house and I have my own fish room.
She's probably like, oh God.
Yeah. She's like, oh no, you're not. You're not doing that.
I really enjoyed having a separate
You're not
fish
doing
room.
any of this.
I heard said that. I think she said, yeah, I know you're not.
So is the whole basement yours or
no, this is just the unfinished portion of the basement. This is the washer and dryer over here. So, you know, this is the main entry door. So basically this back section here is mostly mine. You can see the hot water heater and the furnace are here. So I got to share some room with them, but I've got, you know, all my crap on the left and my sump on the right, and got the Refugium in the 75, which I guess is essentially another Refugium. And of course, my cat is interested in what's going on down here too. So,
Dad is talking.
The cat ever jump into the sump?
no,
Oh, okay.
no,
Scared of the water?
I'm not that mean. She just has to be wherever I am. So it's my cat.
Gallon is
So,
just stoked.
See, I would be a little worried because the rat, you say wrasses get in there every now and then, she might be alerted to that. And, she's like, oh, snack.
yeah, well, they hate water enough that I haven't had a problem with either one of them getting anywhere near the sump. So, oh God, jumping on my lap. See, she's not going to let it go. Got to be on the lap.
So see, we get Reef and Cat all together.
Yes.
I was gonna say earlier, I really enjoyed having my own fish room where you could shove all the stuff, or like having like your own basement section. That way you can hide your mess.
Well, I'll tell you what, this little chair that I have here, this is like my Zen chair. So when I just want to like relax and not think about the world and just listen to the water rushing by, I sit in this chair for, I don't want to say hours because then I sound like a loser, but
Sounds like we need to get the GoFundMe Foundation to get you a nice couch over there.
you know
Little
what?
lazy boy.
Here,
Yes,
So,
that's perfect.
yep,
Love it.
I hang out here a lot and just keep an eye on things and kind of imagine what I'm gonna do next, and hope that my wife approves it.
Well, it's nice. Yeah, well, thank you for, showing off your tank. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Anything else anybody wants to know?
Yeah, about your heaters. I know that you've got three heaters up top, which are your metal halides. They heat plenty, but well,
Yeah.
what do you what do you have to run
I,
normally?
was an Inkbird heater controller, and then I've got two. One there, I think this is just a regular titanium heater. This
Oh,
one,
okay.
800 watts, and then I've got another one under here that's 300 watts. So I've got 1100 watts of heaters, but they're all run off of the Inkbird controller.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Nice.
move it over to the Hydros eventually, but I haven't yet. The Hydros has, temperature on it, and
I thought the Inkbird had like some wattage limit, like 600 watts or something. Is that like a special one, or?
I thought the Inkbird was 15 amps, which ends up being 1300 watts or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. It's what my booklet says. But
So,
I was just curious what it took to heat your water, because I know the bulbs alone can heat your water, I'd say.
they do.
Yeah.
They do. Not as bad. I mean, I think I can control temperature because I have a lot of my water volume is in the basement. I mean, I've got 100. I estimate I've got 100 gallons in the sump, plus the 75, plus the 40. So that's roughly 150 gallons, in my basement, which is not, I should say not heated, but it's not heated well. So
What kind of clam was that in that 75 gallon?
kind of what?
Clam?
Oh, it's a Durasa.
It's pretty.
It's big. Like I said, somebody was picking on it in the tank upstairs. I naturally blame the Flame Angel, but he's been doing really well since I brought him down here.
Heather and team with inverter reef said it gets dangerous when both spouses are just addicted as reefing is the other. That's funny.
What
It
do
leads to
you
starting a business, and then your whole basement turns into a reef store.
Hi,
Yep.
Heather. It's Elisa. I've been talking to you on the emails for emerald crab.
I know I need to find him. He's hiding.
You see?
I
I'll find him, I hope.
haven't seen them in a while, but I think they only live a few years, so
So what kind of plans do you have next for your tanker system? Anything?
unfortunately with the area I have up, so I would always love a bigger tank, but unfortunately with the area I have, I'm limited. I can only fit a 6 foot tank. So unless I was to buy, get a new house or something, which my wife keeps threatening me. Yeah, she's giving me the stink eye over there now.
Oh no.
And I would like to get a bigger tank, but I don't think it's going to happen in this house. So,
I know what your plan is to beat us all in honeybee grower competition.
I want to go big, but we'll just have to see what happens. It's unknown.
So do you have plans to upgrade someday, or are you good with your 180?
No, I'm gonna stick with it for a while. I mean, the only thing I'm getting nervous about is, you hear a lot of people saying that these glass tanks, sometimes uh the glue is only good for about 20 years. So I don't know if, I mean, my 180 has been set up since 2001. So I don't know if I should be getting nervous about it being 23 years old now. So
I've had oceanic tanks that were like, I mean, ocean, they were like 30 years old. So, I mean,
yeah, again,
Well, you're lucky you didn't get Red Sea like me, so
yeah,
we don't talk about that.
no, that I'm glad, but I don't even think they made tanks in 2001 when I put this together. So
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful system you got going.
thank
Absolutely stunning. Well done.
Yep, very well done.
So on your refugium, do you have
I
just a
can't
single
imagine
frame?
you ever having to move to a small tank with all the equipment underneath us in the underneath the stand.
I would be that would be like a fate worse than death for me. I can't imagine that either.
I do prefer to have a lot of room to get to stuff. It makes it easier to reach the skimmer. It makes it easier to service the pumps when
Yep,
you have all that room.
yep, yep. Nah, don't want to
Yeah,
know.
you just reef you. You do
I'm,
you, right?
I'm giving people too many bad ideas, huh?
Yes.
So I'll just read, someone from the chat says, the basement sump is a delightful temptation. I sometimes wonder if the reason that I can't seem to grow corals is partly down to the idea that a 40-gallon sump just isn't sufficient to handle the bioload of a fairly heavily fish stock 220-gallon. So what do you think about that, Bill? Do you think that, a 220-gallon, you need a much larger sump than a 40-gallon sump? You think that has something to do with their problems, not inability to grow corals?
I would personally say that the issue would probably be an insufficient skimmer. I'm a firm believer in over skimming, like you said earlier, that I almost think you can't get it big enough. Obviously, that's not true. You don't want, a 20,000 gallon skimmer on your 120-gallon tank, but I mean, you see, I run very, very low nitrate and very low phosphate, and I think that has to do with me running an oversized skimmer as well as, having a large refugium with the caulerpa growing in it. So that would be my recommendation, would be to get a much bigger skimmer. But then putting everything under your tank, you're limited on skimmer size too, where, that's another reason why having it external. But that was the thing, is even back in 1997, see this right here is my original skimmer. It's a Venturi skimmer.
Oh, wow.
I set this up like right next to my 75. So my old skimmer sat, this thing it's 4 feet tall. So it was external and it sat, right on the side next to my tank here. So I think we've kind of gotten away from tall skimmers in the hobby. And I think my opinion, it's to the detriment of the hobby. I think skimmers should be taller. They should be more flow. They should be, my opinion.
I didn't know they make external skimmers. Can you even still get those?
That's the problem, is everything has gone internal. I mean, there used to be no such thing as an internal skimmer, it was just, now everything, my pumps are external, my skimmer's external, the UVs are all external. So it's just, now granted the UVs are more modern, they're not that old, but
Right.
I have just always preferred external equipment. And like I said, it's just, maybe it's my age. Maybe I'm showing my age.
Hey, if it works, no, I love huge skimmers. And I mean, you know what? If you feel like you're over skimming, you can always put the thing on a timer. So it's not
Yep.
running 24/7. If you don't want to, if your nutrients are dropping too low and you feel like you're over skimming. Before we miss it, there is a question in the chat from RR. How much ambient temperature differential between summer and winter do you see in the basement?
It's not much, because we'll just put it this way. We tend to run our air conditioner pretty cold. So it's not a fair question for me, where, during the summer at night, we're running the house at 69, 70 degrees. So it's kind of weird that during the summer, I am running my air conditioner while my heaters are on my tank, because my house is cold. So therefore my water's cold. Therefore I have to run heaters to bring my temperature back up in my house, in my tank.
So your basement has AC as well then?
It doesn't. The heat exchanger is here, but you can see the vent. I have taped shut, so there's no actual air flowing, air conditioning air. So over here too, yeah. This one over here, the vent is actually shut. So I don't blow any air conditioned air into my basement. So it just runs ambient temperature. But if I keep the rest of the house cold and cold air sinks, it's going to fall into the basement. Sometimes, yes, I saw the question about the pH. Sometimes keeping the windows shut with the air conditioner will kill my pH. I actually have a home CO2 monitor, and I can see when the CO2 level in the house gets up around 900 or 1,000, that it's just time, to hell with the AC. You just got to open a window up and get fresh air. So,
yeah, I don't have this CO2, but it definitely, I monitor that, and we have some hot summer, and you just open the window overnight, or just for a little bit, or the door or whatever, and it gets fine, right?
I
Easy.
definitely see it affects the pH when CO2 level in my house gets, because 1,000 is high. Normal should be 3 to 400. So having it at 1,000 is about 3 or 4 times more than it should be, and is getting to the point where it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's kind of my issue with my apartment. It's too closed in, so I was having a lot of pH issues until the weather started to cool down.
My pH is going up to 8.53, 4, and my monitor alerted me now because it's such a cool weather and it's getting there. I'm like, I'm not too worried. It's gonna drop here pretty soon, right?
There's worse problems to have than a pH of 8.5.
Exactly.
One of
If,
the reasons,
if you
one
were,
of the reasons,
I would say low.
Sorry, what was that?
If it was Joe, he would say 8.5 is low.
Where's he? He's 8.6, 8.7.
He runs it. I've seen him have it up to as close as 8.9.
Oh, Jesus, for real?
Yeah, but he's running, what is it? Sodium hydroxide or something. So he's
Oh,
really pushing to get it as he can, but that's because he's trying to grow coral. So high pH equals high coral growth. So,
yeah. That's what Chris Mackley does.
yeah.
one of the reasons to have more fresh air in your home is that if your tank gets kind of acidic, that I think for your own health, if you don't have enough oxygen, I think it can actually make your blood probably a little bit more on the acidic side.
Oh, there's no doubt. Like I said, there's definite health benefits to it. Not as, but if it weren't for the tank, I wouldn't even be paying attention to it. So, but yes, there's definite health benefits to it. Yep. Having high CO2 in your house is not a good thing for people as well as fish tanks.
Yeah, I have a scrubber in my house, a CO2 scrubber, for the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had to install it about 3 years ago because at the time the way our house was closed down so tight uh, in the wintertime when it got cold, um, we ended up getting really bad uh, CO2 levels to the point where the back of your throat would get raw and
Yeah, I can cause
just
that. And it's bad stuff.
yeah and it was it's $180 fix, and it fixed everything. And
Nice. Yeah.
so the house dropped, went from like 1200 to 100 in 24 hours.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Yeah, and now, and I noticed that with my tank now, the pH is going up now. Everything's, um, but yeah, CO2 can be nasty.
yeah.
Someone in the chat asked, and I don't even know the question to this, the answer to this, at what level, Troy Lee asked, at what level does it burn fish gills? I guess meaning pH. I don't really know the answer to that. Do you, Vince?
I would imagine it has to be pretty low. I would.
Are pretty high. Like, I mean, if people are running 8.5, 8.6, and that's not, really, I mean, I would expect before it's, if high pH is negatively impacting a fish's gills, you're going to start seeing heavy breathing. They're going to start scratching the gills. They're going to show signs of irritation.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that threshold
With the
would be.
threshold, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that would be, honestly. I mean, I do know people that run 8.5, 8.6, and I know they have fully stocked systems and they don't ever report to me that they have, the fish their gills seem bothered or anything by it. So probably a lot higher than 8.5 or 8.6, I would imagine.
Yeah, it might be higher than like the corals would even handle at that point. You might be seeing other issues
Yeah,
and
so
even before then.
Troy Lee also said, I've always heard higher pH is dangerous for fish. Don't know if there's truth to that. I'm sure she's seen mine skyrocketed to 9.2 and everything was fine, luckily. So I guess even at 9.2, um, didn't really negatively impact the fish. At
Yeah,
least
I don't.
thought so.
I guess it might depend too if it's like something like falls out of solution or something. If like you overdose calc in your tank, that's a different story. you know, because there's like precipitate or something going on, and that might impact the gills.
Yeah, it could be. I try to keep mine 8.3, 8.4. I would see 8.9 and I would panic. So I would not want mine to be that high.
Or RP is what can kill you fish, right? Was the over 400 when you run ozone.
Yeah, I don't know what the threshold is on that, but there is sort of like, it's at what, 350 or 400? They say you don't ever want to go any higher than that with your ORP, I believe.
Yeah, that's what they say. Hmm.
Oh.
Problem
Yeah,
is that measuring it accurately.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
You don't
Andrew
have
and I used to talk about, he's real big into ORP, and we used to talk about that sometimes. And I think he would tell me that he didn't ever want to see his tank ever get above 400, I believe.
Yeah, like $50 a pop. I just didn't feel like buying a new ORP probe every 6 months for something that, I don't know, I guess I didn't really pay that much attention to anyway. Just
so
feel
you don't have any you have hydros, so do you monitor all the level? Well, hydros, do you have the Trident, Neptune, or anything for alkalinity and calcium? How do you monitor all this?
I don't. I am, oh, now you're getting into my psyche here. Don't forget I'm old.
Yes, you are, and I'm aware of it, but I would love to hear it.
I'm what you'd call a visual reefer, so I keep an eye on things like coralline algae growing. If I see spots of coralline growing on my tank, then I know the alkalinity and the calcium are good. Otherwise, it wouldn't grow. I don't want to say that I watch my corals close enough that I can actually see acro growing, because it doesn't grow that fast. But that's the main thing I keep an eye on, because I've noticed times where I'll clean the glass, and be a few weeks later, and I'll be like, oh, there's no coralline dots. And I'll come down and I'll check some things, and maybe my alkalinity is at 5.5 or something, and I was like, oh crap, shouldn't have let that happen. But now that I'm have the pH on the hydros, pH can kind of tell you a lot, because the pH is kind of directly related to alkalinity as well. So if your pH is, I've noticed as my pH drops, my alkalinity drops. Obviously, that's not one for one, because it can also mean that your carbon dioxide is increasing. But like I said, I have that home monitors my home atmosphere, so I can tell what my room CO2 is. And if that's normal and my pH is dropping, then it's probably my alkalinity is low.
Wow.
Usually I have the opposite. I'll have it where my pH starts to drop, like say like we're closed up more so, and then my consumption I would assume stops, and so my elk ends up spiking up. So that's usually to me a sign where, okay, something happened, my pH is probably lower than it usually is.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've heard about that as well.
It might be difficult for me because I have so many acros and so much volume of it that if it
mine's only 45 gallons, so it's gonna change quicker than yours.
So how much calc do you have to dose? Like how much, I guess, how much fluctuation do you see with your parameters, like your alkalinity, calcium, magnesium? Because supposedly, some people believe that's the key to growing SPS, is everything has to be stable. So how much fluctuation do you see with your parameters?
probably a lot more than I should. Like I said, when I posted that picture of my last ICP test, my calcium was actually pretty low. I was surprised. It came back at 315 or whatever it was. And my at that particular time, my calcium reactor, the aragonite was, way down. It was down here. So once I saw my calcium was low, I was like, I kind of knew I needed to refill the calcium reactor. And so I refilled it, and I'm pretty sure my calcium is back to normal. I haven't tested it since. Like I said, I've got another OES test sitting right here that I'm going to send out in about a month or so, and then see where it comes in. But so, I mean, I don't know. I believe in stability, but I'm going to go against a lot of people, and I'm going to say calcium is not a very important element. Let the spam fly, but I don't watch it. I don't pay attention to it. I don't know what it is. I just add my calcium reactor, I add my calc, and I let it ride.
Okay. So in the chat, Steph Cancun asks, does a lot of coralline affect your alkalinity in your tank?
Probably not as much, because the amount of calc that I have relative to the amount of acropora I have is going to be lower. But I mean, it's a calcareous algae, so it has to be taking calcium and alkalinity out of the water in order to form it. And as you can see in my tank, I really only clean my front glass. I kind of leave my back glass and my two sides. I have two rock urchins that eat a lot of coralline, and my rock urchins are probably as old as my tank, so they're probably 20 years old. And I don't feed them anything. They just move from side to side, pane to pane, and munch on coralline all day long. So I try to grow as much coralline as I can. So I don't really, I've always grown it. So it's just part of my system now. Like I said, the only pane of glass that I clean in my tank is the front. The rest of them I just let grow coralline for my my urchins.
Any good coral ID when like when your magnesium is low or alkalinity low? Any good like identification corals that you keep that tells you something is up?
I haven't noticed that, no. And actually, I hadn't run a magnesium test in a long time. And I ran one about a month and a half ago, and it was like 1,000. So it was pretty low. And I was like, oh crap.
And everything was fine.
But I just randomly tested it, and it turned out to be a lot lower than I thought it was going to be. And
that's so cool. That's such an interesting way of reefing. Like it's so different what you do.
I hate to say I don't pay attention, but I don't. I don't test nitrate and phosphate. I haven't in years. I don't know what they are. I had to look on that ICP test to even see what my values were, because I just don't pay attention to them. I think my tank naturally runs pretty low because I do pretty heavy export with the Callirpa and the skimmer.
Yeah, you've got a pretty big filtration system. So, I think that's what makes it stable.
And honestly, when I've run like the phosphate test, it's always been like 0.03, and I'd shake the test, I bang it on the wall, and I run it again, and it comes back 0.03. I would run it like a month later, and it would be 0.03. I thought my HANA tester was broken because it was always 0.03.
A very low nutrient system then.
Right.
Very nice.
So it kind of sounds like, due to your experience, you kind of watch your tank. You watch the health of your animals, and you know if something is off just because, say, if your corals aren't looking right or something, you can visibly see that there's something wrong. And then maybe that's when you start testing to try to, figure out what's going on. Is that kind of a fair assessment?
That would be a fair assessment, and that's also going back because 25 years ago, we didn't have test kits.
Yeah.
And I will be honest here, though. I am probably one of the first ones that bought the HANA checker, because that's what they used to look like.
Wow.
So there's the HANA phosphate checker. So they haven't changed much, just the size of the box. And I know it's old because when I when I actually looked at it a couple days ago or a couple months ago, and the original battery still works. So it shows me C1.
If anybody's listening to this and you want to do some experimentation with Hannah checkers, two things I want to experiment with. Number one, the Hannah, the low range copper checker. Does that work? Is that compatible like in salt water for testing, chelated copper, different forms of copper? Secondly, Hannah makes an ammonia checker that I cannot figure out whether or not it would work in the presence of like copper. Because, like most liquid ammonia test kits are not going to work in copper, which is why we have to default to the ammonia alert badge, which we all know is less than perfect. And I cannot figure out for sure if that Hannah ammonia checker will work if you have like a quarantine tank with copper.
It,
I
it
thought
does.
Jeff had gotten one.
Yeah, but I don't think he really did any like, I mean, it's one of those things that's on my list to do. Maybe I need to just go ahead and order one since I'm going to be actually quarantining some fish next week. But like, I would love to know. I mean, if that Hannah ammonia checker works in a quarantine tank, then, when you have that ammonia alert badge and, it's turning kind of green and you're like, okay, is this thing actually like, showing true ammonia? It would give you something to test to verify whether or not there's ammonia in the quarantine tank. Because
I thought that it doesn't work because you have the copper in there, right?
well, like if you try to use like an API or a Salifert or something like that, it's not going to work because the what the copper does is it you get like a false positive reading. Even if there's no ammonia in there, the liquid test kit will give you a false positive reading. But supposedly, I've been told by a few people that the Hannah checker should work, should give you an accurate ammonia reading, even if copper is in the water.
Why don't you just reach out to Hannah?
They don't talk to me. They
Oh,
they ignore me. Oh yeah, yeah. I've already been round and round. I've tried to get answers from them. They don't. They just ignore my emails. I'm hated by the aquarium industry.
Nah.
no, you're
You
not,
asked too many
Bobby.
questions.
I ask way too many questions. I'm not just like, okay, well, I'll just take your word for it. No, I'm like, I want to test it. I want to prove and see whether it works or doesn't work. I want to know for sure.
Yep.
Gotcha.
The actual, how dare you?
Exactly. Like I've been going back and forth with the guy that owns Ruby Reef, trying to pin down. Like I know what the recommended dosage is, and I know what the bath dosage is I recommend, but I'm trying to get a more aggressive in tank dosage for treating your anemia because that's my thing now. I'm gonna beat your anemia. I'm gonna figure it out. And he's real vague about dosing recommendations. I mean, it was like pulling teeth just to get his to tell me that I can mix it with copper, even though I kind of know I can, but he's like, okay, you can mix it with copper. But I'm trying to like, figure out how much I want to dose of this stuff. Yeah, people in the aquarium industry tend to be very tight-lipped and, they don't want to give you a whole lot of information.
Interesting. But the hobby is not though. Industry maybe is, but the hobby is just always speak up.
Yeah, yeah, we want to know. We want to get to the
Yeah.
bottom. I want to get to the bottom of everything. I want to know the details, the devil's in the details. But the aquarium industry just wants to kind of, say, well, just take our word for it. No, 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 that doesn't fly with me.
Yeah.
That
Hey,
works vibrant.
oh, see, that's the kind of thing right there, right? Yeah, yep.
Hey, people still use that stuff. Can you believe it?
I just started reading it thread, and my brain just exploded. I couldn't believe what I was seeing in that. Uh, just I didn't know that this industry had gone that way. Uh, it was scary.
Well, I mean, I get it. They're trying to make money, and it's like just use the product, right? But I mean, a lot of us like we want to know if the product works. We want to know how the product works. Like on the forum right now, I think it's great. Telegram actually took all those bacteria in a bottle products and he actually sent off for like ICP, not ICP, what is it, like DNA
The
test.
DN, not D, my microbiome.
Right. Yeah. To find out what strains of bacteria are actually in these bottles of bacteria they sell. And I forget which one. I probably shouldn't say which one, even if I knew. One of them actually contains a harmful strain of bacteria. So you're actually introducing pathogenic bacteria into your tank if you were to use this particular bottle of bacteria to seed your display tank or seed a quarantine tank, for example.
Right.
Right. How scary is that?
Yeah, yeah. I was seeing that thread too. That terrified me. And
Right.
somebody with OCD, I get that, and I'm just like, whoa,
Right.
yeah, that's definite. Ugh, ugh.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know, but the microbacterial, the microbiome testing, that I think it's such a new territory and still so much unknown. And the way we test and still, I don't think it's appropriate. But I agree. We just don't have the information. We just don't know so much about biome, and we don't even know about corals. I mean, we just barely start spawning them, right?
Yep.
So there's definitely, but there's a lot of good things are happening.
Yep.
So I don't know who needs the tank when you could just sit here and look at your sump.
No,
I mean, I could be at a place with Zen. That's nice. I see what you're talking about, where you could just sit, hear the water going,
Yes, it's
and
peaceful and
yeah,
quiet.
yeah, I could see myself just sitting there and not not caring about the world,
yep.
or anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is my hiding spot when I just want to get away.
Yeah, yeah, I would be right there. I would be right there in front of that. And,
I can
uh,
totally see why.
Yeah. Me too, Paul.
Hey, Alyssa.
Hey, buddy.
So what you could do is like maybe put a TV, I'd put like a TV down there and maybe like a radio and stuff and and I mean, turn into a proper man cave.
I've thought about that.
Refrigerator, like maybe like a beer chiller, I don't know.
Gotta have a lazy boy. Come on.
I mean,
basically.
you already got holes in the floor. Just put like a keg like, upstairs and just run, your line down there. Let gravity do its thing, right?
Threaten us with
Auto
a
beer off.
Did you ever fear?
So I'm trying to put all the names, like people names, actually to the screen names on Humble Fish. Like Vat, what's Vat's name?
Bill. My name is
Bill?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
You were my secret Santa last year.
I know.
I love my smoked salt that you sent me. And the gift card you made me buy more corals. I don't like it.
How dare I?
But thank you
So
so
excited.
much.
I'm so excited for this year again. I love Secret Santa.
I know, me too. It's a wonderful forum. I love it, Bobby. You've done great.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, we've tried to keep it like, real, you know?
It's the only forum I belong to now.
Good.
So I love it.
Yeah. We try
Yeah,
we
I'm
just
new.
try to yeah, go ahead.
I'm new that you're in, and I was a member somewhere else, but I felt like I felt like the stuff that I was uh listening to was just more genuine. I don't know if that might sound mushy, but I mean it's true. Um, I mean that's why I'm here tonight. And I'm a very, very, very private individual. Doing something like this is on the terrifying level of scared.
It's
And
not bad.
Well,
but
no, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
It's just great.
yeah, yeah, it's something I can tell my doctor about, you know. They'll like it, but yeah, the forum drew me in because it was easy. It was um I felt like I could speak without worrying about uh misspellings or anything like that, you know. Just
Right.
just the normal um kind of like how I would when families are around, you know. And that's why I'm here.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
and no, we
Go
try
ahead,
to,
Bobby.
we try to foster like a family environment, and we try to help each other. I think some places, because I'm on Facebook too, and other places, it seems like people are kind of showing off. And look, that's fine. People should show off because proud of what you do. But I think at the end of the day, for me, the whole thing is about like helping people. Like, can I help somebody? Because it makes me feel great if like somebody asks me a fish disease question. I spend some time with them, and we go back and forth. And at the end of it, I can they can tell me that, hey, I was able to save maybe all of my fish or some of my fish. I'm like, okay, well, I did something good to help someone else and help these animals. So that's what the forum's about. And the forum is about helping each other. The forum's about kind of being, like kind of close and like almost a family. And I think what we're doing here is sort of like an extension of that, of, trying to just do something a little bit different. And we're learning a lot tonight about Bill's tank, and just, hanging out and just, learning and talking.
I totally agree. This is Steph Cancun is my forum name, but yeah, you guys like when my dad passed away in 2022, you guys were great. Everybody was, condolences, and you know what I'm saying? That was just wonderful. So yeah, definitely a great place to be.
Reefing community is the really good community.
Hmm.
Um, if you surround if you surround yourself with just the people, and there's true, really good people in this community. It really is.
Yeah, I've come to find that out. I mean, like I've been, I've been going through my own personal nightmares in real life, but in the reef scene, uh, this has been an adventure. I mean, I can't believe the amount of stuff that I've learned in my short time. Uh, it's crazy. It's almost mind blowing. More than a lot of the manuscripts I've read and stuff. It's crazy.
Yes, no, it's wonderful. And guess what? You never stop learning. That's the best part about this hobby.
No,
Absolutely.
I was talking to I know you all probably know him, Julian Sprung.
Yeah. Yes.
So uh I was too scared to go into his show one time, and that's how I met Julian Sprung last year. Uh, um, and he come out and I went into the show and uh, uh, that guy is like uh, is full of energy of learning. I mean, really, he wrote a book. I mean, he probably knows as much about it as anybody there is. But like he was telling me that you will never, ever stop learning ever because it's not a perfect science. It's not.
And that's another part about this hobby. When you go to the shows and you see Julian Sprawn and everybody that you wanted to meet, like they almost like your superheroes. And
Yeah,
the thing about all of those people that they're just like people. They love the reefing community and they will talk to you. They're not like
yeah.
celebrity like we think about it,
Oh
right?
yeah. There's no
There's no limitation in
there's
that.
no
It's just
limitation. It's just it's really the reefer community as a whole is not large. I mean, if you look at us as a whole compared to other types of groups, it's not a very big thing. It's actually quite small.
let's
Um,
grow a bigger community. Let's
yeah,
spread the love.
Right,
Well,
Bobby?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we're always looking at ways
I'm
to
waiting for you
expand.
to set up a tank. That's what I've been waiting for the
Hey,
last 4 years.
I've got two tanks set up right behind this wall in a little crawl wall. It's like a little closet that I have to work with where I'm going to be doing urinema experimentation starting next week.
So you want to do experiments versus a run in a reef tank? Well, I guess you guys are temporary down there. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah, we're here for like a year. I didn't really want to go through the effort of setting up a tank and then have to move it in a year.
Yeah,
Really want to solve this urinema problem. So I'm like, well, this is my chance to do it. So I'm working with Jeff and he's sending me some chromis and starting next week, we're going to start experimenting with different treatments and see if we can't get this figured out. Not completely, but like, can we find better treatments and better ways of treating?
right.
Who doesn't want a bunch of chromis and anthias in their tank, right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
either one though. I guess I shouldn't say anything. I don't have any chromis or antias.
You
I'm
know what's weird?
thinking,
Chromis used to be like back in the day. I've been doing this since actually late 70s, right? So I'm really old, but like Chromis used to be everybody had a school of Chromis in their tank. It was just sort of like clownfish. Everyone had them. And then something happened somewhere along the way where it's like if you get Chromis and you try to put them in your tank, you're almost guaranteed to get urinema. And urinema doesn't even have a fallow period, so it's very difficult to get rid of it. So it's like well, I mean, can we figure this out? Can we get back to where we can have chromas and then antheus are susceptible and so are angels and butterflies. So it causes a lot of problems. It's kind of like the final frontier of fish diseases. I kind of look at it that way. So I just
That's scary. That's just really scary.
yeah,
no
You
fallow
know,
period. You can't get rid of it. You can dose.
right.
We've figured out that you can dose peroxide and you can dose metronidazole, and those two have a pretty good, you have pretty good odds of getting rid of it that way. However, you will more than likely experience coral losses along the way.
Mm. I've heard of people having to drain like their whole tank. You know what I mean? And bleach things, and horrible.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, my phone died, so
oh,
Oh,
There you are.
there you are.
yes. Now you're stuck looking at me because I gotta go on my laptop now, so
killed
you
your
see my
phone.
ugly face.
Your tank is awesome. Is great, by the way. Very nice.
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was good. That was a good experience. I needed that. I could come and sit in that basement all day. I could.
I spend some time down there, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I can see why. That's awesome. And I like your approach. You know, um, an oldie but a goodie on a lot of things. I love your lighting approach. Uh, I would have done the same thing, but I don't think I could have put up with the heat. Yeah, but oh my gosh, yeah, and in the basement. I mean, yeah, that's just. I think everybody here that has a basement is now thinking the same thing. I mean, that'd be awesome. I mean, granted, I've got my stuff. It was 88.5 feet away from my tank, my RO unit and stuff, and my water change unit and all that. But I run the lines through the house because I don't have a basement. I've got a crawl space.
Yeah.
But yeah, that the basement and you're able to have what is it? You're running 400 gallons of stuff, right? Run about 400 gallons.
About 350
Yeah.
is about my estimate.
Okay. Yeah. And 180 of that's in the display, which is phenomenal. That means your filtration is the other. Man, that right there is lovely, lovely. Love that.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
Well, I will say that my methods of running a tank are not what I would recommend for anybody new.
No,
Don't take my advice on a new tank because you need to test and you need to learn how this stuff works before you can get to the point where you can, be a little more
Absolutely.
hands off about it.
Yeah. I mean, I think you've got the right, what they call the farmer's touch. Around here they call it the farmer's touch. You've
Yeah.
got
Blue
what,
thumb.
and you've definitely got the farmer's touch. So
Yeah, I guess. That just means I'm old.
no, well,
Been doing this for 25 years, so give or take.
yeah. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. This has been a great experience. Thank you very much for showing us your tank.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. That was
Pressure's on honeybee acropora.
I'm gonna do my best. We'll see what happens.
Not taking the competition from you this time. I'm putting her right on top of Radion.
So you guys, you're talking about the grow out, the battle corals grow out competition, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, we are. Okay, I'll turn my camera since we're recording. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
So
You have no reason not to turn on your camera, okay? I mean, of all of us,
I
you
know.
have no reason not to turn on your camera.
Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Paul. Hey, buddy. So yeah,
Hey,
the
Bobby.
grow out competition. Sorry.
hey, Bobby, I'm gonna have to dip here, so I'm gonna give you the host
Okay. Yep.
here. I don't know how long you guys are gonna go further here.
Okay. Yeah, so for
But,
people dropping off, we're going to be doing this what we think, Vince, monthly?
yeah, at least monthly.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this about once a month, and then every time there'll be someone who, like Bill just did, wants to show off their tank, show off their system, and kind of be featured, and then afterwards we'll just kind of have a little powwow like we're doing right now. So do you need more people, Vince, to sign
Yeah,
up?
I think I don't have anybody else who's signed up yet.
Okay.
So if you're interested in doing this, there is a sign up thread.
Can you post that
I
link
can-
in the chat before
Yeah, I'm gonna can find
Okay.
it.
So yeah, if you want to sign up, get
Need
with
more victims. I mean, volunteers.
I'll have to show mine, and nobody wants to see that. Come on.
Maybe I'll have to sign up.
Yeah.
I'll sign up. I'm waiting for the blasting.
I'm always interested to see how other people do this. I mean, we all get similar results. We all,
100%.
Right.
keep
I agree.
successful tanks, and everybody does it a little different. My way is not the only way. It's what works for me. So
Right.
Right.
That's
So,
where the learning comes with. Yeah.
so Vince just posted the link. So if you see it and you want to be featured next month or the month after that or whenever it's convenient for you, just send either me or Vincent a PM on the forum, and we'll get you signed up for next month. And also, I think we're going to be doing. I need to get with Philip Alcatraz. He's wanting to do. I think he called it Saturday with Phil. And that's going to be another Zoom type meeting thing that we're going to do maybe once a month as well. So we'll start doing it like once a month on a Tuesday and once a month, say on a Saturday, just so different time slots and days and times for people
Nice.
to participate. Yep.
Yeah, I can handle that. Can really handle that. What I'm facing right now is these. I've got these Zoa eating nudibranchs, and I am. So I go in there after lights out, and I've got this pinpoint flashlight, and yeah, it has been crazy. I've never experienced anything like these guys. They are nasty. They are nasty.
So what eat those, like maybe a wrasse of some sort?
Yeah. They say the yellow chorus wrasse is like the ideal choice. That's what everybody's saying. The the number one fish is, or that family anyway. But these guys are, and how I found them was I saw the polyps closed on one of my heads, and on any polyps closed, I start to worry. So I looked on there, and I saw this fuzzy thing glowing like the coral, but it was moving. And I slurped it up with the turkey baster, and I got it out, got it into a specimen dish, and looked at it, and it's a nudibranch. And then I typed it in, and it just blew my mind what these guys. And yeah, this. So I've been. You think so? It's toxic? Yes. Well, I mean, these were give to me. So and also the
Great
pest.
gift.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the
We
gift
love
that
those
keeps on
gifts.
giving. It's
So
it's been giving me. So I've got 5 of them out now, and I've got them. I'm keeping them in a little bitty tank that I got from the pet store up there, and just I don't know what to feed them because they only eat zoas, I think, and but
Matt
yeah,
Moore, get on. Come on, turn your volume on and just ask everybody. Come on, Matt Moore, come on. You don't need to be posting on chat. You've been on Zoom a few times.
so someone here also
Then we gotta talk.
someone also recommended peppermint shrimp would possibly eat them because they ate all of their Bergia and nudibranchs. So maybe if peppermint shrimp will eat Bergia and nudibranchs, maybe they'll eat the Zoa eating nudibranchs. I don't know. If someone recommend that,
Mhm.
will they? I don't know if they will. I mean, that would be good. They're just the thing is like what I'm finding is they reproduce so fast. I don't know what the egg incubation is, but it's got to be very short. Because I pick them off and then boom, I've got more, and I've only got just 3 little heads of coral in my tank. It's a new tank, but yeah. So if the peppermints will work, I just don't know. I don't know if I want to add a peppermint yet to my tank. I'm a little leery of them.
yeah, they can be.
I've never had issues with them. They've been pretty harmless for me.
But see, one thing that I love is I love RFAs, and I think they love RFAs too. Uh,
I
My
have no anemones, so I
yeah,
can't say that they would leave an anemone alone because I wouldn't know.
yeah, I don't know, and
my
Yeah.
experience with peppermints was that
Moyer's on.
they leave the plain RFAs alone, but if you have a really beautiful one, they'll eat it fast.
Yeah, of course.
oh,
They leave the
okay,
ugly ones alone.
wow, yeah,
Matt Moore has a really good experience with those. He knows.
Yeah,
yeah.
dude. So how many zoas do you have?
I've just got about three heads, three fried plugs full of about 40 each, about 40 heads each. Um, and that's all I've got. And so, but they don't touch the polyanthids. They don't seem like the palythoid. They don't touch the pallies. They might crawl over the pallies, but they don't touch the pallies as far as trying to physically eat them. Whereas they do on I mean the zoas, they just and they lay their eggs on the side of the side. It's hard to see them. It's really hard.
Yeah. So the colonies that you have, you can pull them out, right?
Yeah, I can now. I've got one that's attached on one side, but I can still pull him out. I'm gonna try to. I think I'm gonna just go for a full-fledged dip while I still can.
So the dipping is kind of mediocre on the results, but if you really want to get rid of them, so you got to commit to um for 5 weeks, you got to pull your colonies out like 3 times a week
Okay.
and just blow them off, put them back, pull them out, blow them off, do it for 5 weeks, and then check it pull them out and check it, blow them off, and see if you see any nudibranchs. If you see one nudibranch, you have to start all over. And so what you're just trying to do is trying to beat the egg cycle because you're not going to get rid of the eggs, but you want to be able to catch the small ones and knock them off. And then pretty much any wrasse, if you start blowing them off, you'll teach your wrasse to hunt them. So like if you turkey baste them and get them to come off, if you ever go in and kind of blow your rock off, if you did blow detritus and stuff off, you'll notice that some of your fish will start following you because they realize that live food comes out of there.
Yeah.
And so you can teach your wrasses to hunt that stuff the same way just by turkey basting them and blowing them off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been thinking that's the only thing left to do is to really just take them out. And I mean, to be honest, there was just 2 colonies of zoanthids. I thought about taking them out and just pitching them, but I didn't want to. I just did not want to give up on it yet. Because I could pitch them and they would starve to death because they wouldn't have any other zoanthids to eat. But these guys are they are invasive, really invasive.
If you can pull them out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and blow and turkey baste and blow everything off, put them back, and do that for about 5 weeks, and then after about 5 weeks, just pull them out about once a week and blow them off and check them. And if you go for a period of time and you don't see any nudibranchs at all, you probably caught up with them on the cycle.
Yeah.
If you get a wrasse, the wrasse will probably keep them bay at that point. But it's not the end of the world. You can easily beat it, especially if you're able to pull them out. Turkey baste them.
I can definitely pull them out. It's just the palithoas have attached to the rod, but they haven't been touching the palithoas, the palates. They don't. I don't think they eat them. From my understanding.
Yeah, no, and they'll take on the color of the ones that they're eating. So
yeah,
you can.
Yeah, that's how I'm finding them now. Is they're bright red underneath the blues. They're just bright red, and you can't. Yeah, they stick out like a sore thumb when the blues are on.
So Matt, would like any kind of Halochorus wrasse take care of that, like a Melanaris or anything, like a yellow chorus or Melanaris or something like that?
Yeah, pretty much most of them will.
Okay.
Most of them are pretty opportunistic, and any kind of live food they can learn to eat. It's just a matter of teaching them how to hunt for it, because not all of them know what it is. But once they start getting a taste for it, or know what it looks like, or know where to find it, they'll actively hunt it.
Okay. So that just may be I'm a fish guy, right? So that may be the easiest solution here is, they're easy fish to quarantine. They're pretty hardy fish like a yellow chorus, a Melanaris wrasse. And they're great to have anyway for coral pests in general, in my experience. 6-line would probably take them out too, but 6-line can get kind of nasty. So I would probably stick with a Melanaris or a yellow chorus wrasse.
Yeah, everybody would tell me go with the yellow or Melanaris, I guess, because the 6-line does. I was going to buy a quarantine 6-line, but then I was reading some horror stories about the 6-line, and it was scary.
It's strange with them because some people, because they're fine when they're juveniles. They usually don't cause trouble until they grow up into adults. But some people say it grows up to an adult and it's a perfect citizen, doesn't cause any problems. And then you hear all these nightmare stories, especially sometimes an adult 6-line will go after, kill other wrasses or other fish that have a similar like body shape. So yeah, 6-lines are real hit or miss once they turn it, they're adult.
Yeah. And I'm probably not, because one of the things I want a wrasse in the tank, but is I love Bangkok cardinals. I've always loved Bangkok cardinals in groups, and I'd like to have a group of them in there. So I don't want to evil fish with them.
Speaking of group, one of my favorite things is a group of yellow chorus wrasse, because they kind of hunt in a pack.
Oh.
They're pretty awesome. But you got to pretty much get them all together and quarantine them and get them through the process together and put them in a tank together, and you'll end up with one of them will be male and you'll have a couple females.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay.
That's
That's
cool. I
awesome.
didn't know that.
I didn't either. That's awesome to know.
Yeah, but you want to introduce them at the same time because
Right.
once they set up territories, they might not accept each other. But if you put them in groups, they get used to each other and they'll hunt in groups like a pack of wolves or something.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, that's definitely what I need. I need to give the LFS needs to. I talked to him on the. I told him I said I thank you for the zoanthids. I said I also thank you for the zooanthid nudibranchs. Uh, I said but you would think that in the vat that he had, I said you need a rest in there. I mean, you've got a beautiful, big, beautiful vat filled with tons and tons of zoanthids. He should have wrasse in there constantly, and at least that's what I told him. I said from my understanding, because he said he goes in through and picks them off the colonies. I said, well, that's not gonna eradicate them from what I'm understanding. You're physically gonna have either help removing them or remove the colonies.
You ever do like before you put a coral in your tank, do you do any kind of a coral dip, like Coral RX or hydrogen peroxide or something like that? Because that should kill the
That's
bronch.
that's what I did when I got the coral. The first thing I did was I used Coral RX. I swished them. I
You
I,
guys, you've got to have used the Polyp Lab
oh
conditioner. That
uh,
thing takes everything out. I swear by that stuff. Well,
Yeah, but nothing takes out the eggs though.
yes,
I mean,
eggs.
if you
You
have
gotta,
one egg that's laid there, you're going to get them.
yep.
yeah, and that's what happened. It's definitely the eggs because I did for Coral RX, and I could see I saw a flatworm come off, so it was doing its job at everything on, but yeah, these have laid eggs, and I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing the eggs, so yeah,
The solution for me for work for a very long time, buy from trusted vendors. As soon as
yeah.
you get relaxed and you just like, oh yeah, I'll get that. And honestly, that's where you ask in for problems.
It was it's
Unless you have a quarantine tank.
Yeah, that was the problem. It's an hour and 45 minutes away to this shop, and and they said, here, have a couple coral to go in your new tank. It was titled, it was ready. And I said, yeah. And he said, just dip them, and I knew to dip them, and I did that, but it didn't kill the eggs. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
nothing kills eggs. It doesn't matter if it's a fish parasite or a coral, nothing kills the eggs because the eggs are actually like the way they are. They're actually like have a cyst around them, which shields them from most chemicals.
yeah, yeah, that's what I was told, and it just to the one thing they're not immune to is the toothbrush. They're not immune to a toothbrush, and the Sonic Care, the Sonic Care vibrating toothbrush. Uh, one of the guys has a video of him taking the little Sonic Care toothbrush and just going over his polyps, and you can see the eggs just fly right off because they can't hold on. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna Sonic Care it with
So, Bill, that was a very impressive system.
yeah, that's
Thank you.
awesome system.
Very nice.
Very nice.
And you beat me to the Aura Red Planet Grow Up competition. Well, we're in the last month. I'm so mad. Mine literally didn't do anything. It's the same frag, but it's like shooting out, like to the side.
I don't know
Finally.
why that one has done really well for me, but it sort of just took off and went. So
Oh, it's amazing.
So I haven't really been following that thread, even though I should. I've just been busy. So like what do you guys do? Like you every month you like take a ruler and
Picture ruler. We don't take
Yeah.
rulers anymore because Bill already outbid everyone. Ours is still like the little knob, and his is like colony. We're
oh
like, yeah, we don't do rulers anymore
he
after
got
like 3 months.
he got his at the same time and he's just beating everybody.
Oh,
Yeah, we
yeah,
all got it at the same time. Yeah.
because it's all hilly lines. That's what I call them.
So, and this is the thing where if you win, it's like $1,000 gift card thing to Battle Corals, right? Or am
Well,
I?
no, this
No, which
one is Joe's. So this
Oh,
one is
this
a
is
Premier
different. Okay,
Reefs
okay.
one.
This isn't the battle. This is a different one. Obviously, I don't
Yeah.
never keep up with
We
that
just
stuff.
started the Battle Coral one.
Okay,
you gotta
gotcha.
keep
Okay.
up with it. Just call me. I'll update you.
What's that?
Just call me. I'll update you on all
Oh
this.
yeah, I need because I get on there and I'm like locked into all these fish disease threads and I don't really sometimes have time to go back and like read all the other stuff that's going on. I'm like, okay, well, nobody's complaining. There's no problems. Just leave it alone. Let the thing just run on autopilot, you know?
Are there
Yeah.
going to be more coral grow out competitions?
Oh yeah, totally. We'll do another one.
Sweet, because my tank looks pretty darn pitiful with my
I
recent
know you did so good. I'm so proud of you, buddy.
it might and then me having to move my tank here in the next couple months.
Paul is our good Carolina Roofing community member, so he's always on our Zoom calls as well.
Okay. Welcome.
Aren't you from Idaho? Why are you in the Carolina Reefing community?
Because Moyer found me.
we need her.
You've been
She's the only reefer in Idaho. No, I'm
could
kidding.
be.
Could be. I mean, I don't know. Are you the only one in the hobby
I
in
don't know.
Idaho?
No,
But I always
actually,
wondered that because I always see you posting that stuff about the Carolina Reefer community, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure when I sent you my Secret Santa gifts, they went to Idaho. So
We had, I live in East Tennessee, in Unicoi County, right beside Asheville, North Carolina. And we just had, I mean, the flooding was biblical proportions here.
yeah, I've heard.
And we've got reefers that have that had tanks in Asheville, and they can't even get to their homes to even get what's left. I'm sure there's not much left, but so I've been gathering things for these guys. It's just different types of foods and stuff because most of these people are homeless.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like this.
Matthew is dealing with it as well, right,
Yeah,
Matt?
you're not far from me because I'm just over the other side of the mountain from Chimney Rock and
oh
Saluda,
salute.
Flat
Okay,
Rock.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you
I'm in South Carolina, but I'm as far as South Carolina as you can get without being in North Carolina. I mean, once you just go up in elevation and you're in North Carolina. So yeah, I'm very close. We had I was lucky I didn't get the water that everybody else did, but yeah.
yeah, I live behind the university, so I got lucky. But I mean, I just the smell. I've never experienced anything like this. No, no. I
Yeah, it's been really bad. Yeah.
and we've had, and I didn't know how many reef guys there were in North Carolina, in Asheville. There's a lot of reef people in North Carolina, in Asheville especially, and I put it out there like anybody need anything, holler, because it was just it. I could only imagine, you're losing your home to this stuff.
Right.
I got a friend.
They're barely going to be able to respond to you online because it's been.
Yeah.
I mean, my phone still barely works. I got my Wi-Fi. It took me over a week to get internet back. It's been a slow process coming back, but 20 miles away from me, you're not getting online.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, and that's why I made a flyer, and I put up a flyer. 'Cause my sister does the help with the Humane Society and the pets, because that people don't
Oh,
realize how many pets get dislodged, and anyway, they had 50 dogs. 50 dogs. They had found their owners, and that's taken them a little while, and cats. But the amount of reef people are substantial. They from the flyer, I've been contacted 16 times, 16 people in the Asheville community with reef tanks. Um,
wow.
Wow. Yeah.
so so and most of them don't have power or a house
Wow.
anymore.
So
I,
losing
Yeah.
like the least of their concern. Yeah, I have a friend who he lives in Asheville. He lives up on a ridge and he's in the hobby. He's actually on the forum and he actually I think just got his electricity back. He switched over to was it Starlink for internet is what he's using
Yeah.
now because and then but the thing is weird he doesn't have city water. So what he did was there's like a spring near his house and he's using like a pump to like pump the spring water I guess into the house for like taking baths and washing clothes and drinking water and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's Lake Lure, which is in Asheville pretty much. It just, I mean, the amount of water that came over the mountain was equivalent to two Niagara Falls, uh, double the Niagara Falls put together in a funnel, and we lost industry. The hospital was floating down the street. So, yeah, I've never seen anything like this.
I can I can tell you from personal experience. My cousin lives in the heart of Asheville,
Oh,
and she texted us Wednesday, sent us videos. Her apartment was flooding Wednesday. We basically told her, we said, get out of the mountains now. It's going to get bad.
yeah.
And she didn't listen to us at all.
Well,
20
well,
something year old was like, I'm sticking around. And she ended up getting flooded into Asheville. And literally on Friday, we heard nothing from her.
oh,
And we, oh, she's like, stuff is bad up in the mountains.
yeah.
And and then she finally contacted us Saturday and said, hey, I'm going to try to get home. And we're like, honey, there's no roads in or out of Asheville. You're
No,
stuck.
no,
And
it's. I mean, the engineers have put up a temporary bypass, like on 26 up here going towards Sam's Gap and stuff, and it's just a little two lane behemoth metal bridge that they've laid out, that these trucks have to go through. And yeah, there's no getting really in and out of Asheville.
no, she did come home Sunday,
No,
the day after the storm. They ended up having her and some caravan ended up getting out of Asheville and taking like an hour detour through, I think, Virginia and then back into Charlotte. And it was just weird. How's your tank holding up, Matt?
Oh, fine. I ran it with a generator the whole time.
Oh,
nice. I just had a Generac installed about, I don't know, 8 months ago, right before my daggum water pump blew out, or my heat pump blew out. And then so I had to fork out that money too. So I got hit with the double whammy. But I didn't get anything but power flicker here and a couple of limbs knocked down. But just two roads down, it looks like a nuclear bomb went off. I mean, it
Yeah,
does.
it was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
So,
just all flat.
but people don't realize that when stuff like this happens, that even though so I ran my return pumps, I didn't really run lights the whole time, but um, when you change the way your tank runs for a period of time, things change, like your alkalinity consumption changes, all the things that you had dialed in are now not dialed in anymore. You kind of go through a little reset. Your stuff kind of loses color for a little while. It doesn't die, but it kind of readjusts, and you kind of have to climb back to where you were.
Yeah, yeah. Did you I mean I I got the generator, and I got the portable, the battery unit, to install with it, that stores a lot, because I don't have solar cells up yet, and I doubt I'll be able to get them because the main company that does them was in Asheville. So I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm looking at
Yeah,
solar options too. Um,
that's fantastic. Good. Yeah.
But
So, just to change the subject real quick, Bill, you were asking the question earlier about the Carolina reefing community and my involvement in it. Um, so the club is been going for quite some time, and then Matt just reached out to me through social media and is like, because we're really not the Carolina, we actually, and Brandy, our president, wanted to change the name and saying that, because we have people all over and we just meet on Zoom, and we had a fantastic time. We have wonderful speakers, and Matt reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, you want to be part of the team?" And then Brandy was like, I'm like, really? Me? I don't know nothing about it.
So our 501c is registered in North Carolina. Charlotte is the address, but we do the Zoom meetings just like this. So a lot of it's online. A lot of it's on Facebook. We've been running that Facebook group. I think it's 5 years now. We've had kind of
Yeah.
like a
Five,
Facebook.
6 years. Yeah.
It's like a Facebook forum.
Hmm.
There's like 2,600 people on that group. Not
wow.
all of them are not all of them are active. There's anywhere from 1,000 to 1,600 that's active. We completely moderate that site. So there's no bullying. There's no people being mean or downgrading,
Or
anybody's question.
self-post or
Yeah,
like,
and then we limit sales posts to people that sponsor us. Um, we didn't used to do that, but what happened was is there were so many scam sales that
Yeah.
on a weekly basis I was getting, hey, this person is a scammer. They scam me for $250 and whatever. And I contacted Meta, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do about it? And they're like, we can't do anything about it. And I'm like, well, that's not good enough. I said, so we only let people who are members or who are sponsors, kind of post, because that way they're known people. We know their address, we know their business license, we know information about them. Everybody else, yeah, we don't allow sales posts. So we're not overrun by sales posts like a lot of these Facebook groups are.
in
Yeah.
Carolina reefing community also been part of the Aquatic Expo for the last three. This is going to be our third year too. So it's event in Charlotte. It's the fresh and salt water. We're part of the helping organizing, and all club members, volunteers, and we're heavily involved in that. And it's an amazing event. I actually won my first year this year, and it was fantastic. Had a
It's
really
a
good time.
it's a lot of work, let me tell you. But
Yes.
our philosophy is anything in this area that we can help that promote the hobby, for any of our members. So we'll be involved in any of that.
And the
But
best
yeah,
part, meeting all your social media friends that you never met
yeah.
in person. Bobby, I hope you can make it in February this year. Would love to have you as a speaker.
Yeah, yeah, I should be able to do it. In fact, so we're in Arkansas, but we don't want to stay in Arkansas. Nothing against Arkansas, we just don't want to stay in Arkansas. So we've been talking about actually doing at some point this winter like a little road trip, Tennessee, North, South Carolina, Maybe go back to Florida and check that out because we have to like figure out like where we, because I mean, I'm 51 years old and my wife's in her 40s, and it's like we are like done with this whole like digital nomad thing. We're like, okay, we just need to buy a house and settle down. So yeah, we'll probably be heading over that way at some point to kind of check it all out and figure out where we want to settle down to, so where we want to live, because
Go more west to Idaho.
west of Idaho.
To North Carolina, Bobby.
Idaho probably gets pretty cold, doesn't it?
Not really, like 30s maybe, but not very long.
Okay.
Like we don't, like Boise area, like Ada County, we don't get a lot of snow. If we get snow, like yeah, it'll stick around and then it will melt the next day. But the mountains are beautiful.
Okay. Yeah, we're kind of in, well, it's not really mountains here. We're in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's sort of more hills, like big hills and mountains. But it's kind of a long story how we ended up here. But yeah, we're gonna start looking around because I mean I'm tired of this, and it's like we've got to like get stable, and then I can set up a DT. Once I know I'm not gonna be moving in a year or whatever, then I can set up a DT. I've actually got a 75 to start, just to start. I have a 75-gallon sitting in storage with tons of lights and boxes of salt and everything I would need to set up a tank. I could set it up today. I wouldn't even have to buy anything because I even
And
have.
you can grow another big frog spawn.
Yes, yeah, my big basketball frog spawn that I had. Yeah, that when we moved, the last DT I had before the business I had a 150 gallon when we lived in North Louisiana, and like yeah, I had to like sell all my coral, I had to sell all my fish. It really sucked.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
but that was when we were getting ready to go on the road trip, and I'm like, well, I can't really like take all the stuff in the car, so I just got to get rid of it. And then I had the business for like almost 4 years, and that was like we had 30 tanks in the house, but that was
And you guys were in California, right?
no, we were in Florida. We were in
Oh,
which is the Florida Panhandle near. It's kind of so most people know Navarre is kind of like the Panhandle. It's in between Pensacola and Destin on the Florida
okay.
Panhandle. For those who are familiar with the Florida Panhandle, yeah, we lived there for like 4 years, and that's where I ran Humble Fish Aquatics, which the fish quarantine business
Right.
which I'm going to do again. I'm going to do it again. Again, we have to find a place to move to.
Yeah, totally understand.
Which is
Bill, competition is on. I got this.
I know we got competition now. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff, I went up to Minneapolis and I met Jeff and I met Joe. And I think Jeff was actually trying to get me to move to Minneapolis because then we would go in business together. Like we would then go get like a warehouse or something and we would do it together. But I just could not sell my wife on Minneapolis. She just was like, no, because because like we have a friend that lives up there, and our friend told us that it's like 7 months of like winter, like freezing cold, and my wife is like, no, we can't do that. So I got shot down.
Yeah, I have a friend that's from there, and he says that it's what 9 months of winter and 3 months of bad sledding.
Right, right. I mean, I don't mind winter. I don't mind snow and ice. My wife doesn't like it, but I don't really mind it.
That's a long time. No, thank you.
Yeah.
And if you have choices like you do in United States, that where you can live somewhere where it's warm, why not?
Right. See, my wife works 100% remote. What I do now 100% remote. We literally could live anywhere in the country we wanted to live. We just got to figure out where we want to move to, long term.
Yeah, you guys will find something fantastic.
I can recommend where I live. It's beautiful. Granted, right now there's some places that aren't beautiful because of the storm, but the Appalachian Mountains are beautiful, wonderful place to live. I mean, I look outside and I love it here. Love it here.
Do you live near the Blue Ridge Parkway? That was one of our, when we were doing this, we were doing this road trip thing for a while. And every year we would start the Blue Ridge Parkway was it Georgia? And we would take it all the way to Pennsylvania.
Like the Appalachian Trail is this, you can get on the Appalachian Trail right here behind my house, and the Blue Ridge Parkway is on the other side. going up to it. So yeah, the Blue Ridge Parkway, it's one of the most scenic things you'll ever see
Oh
in the
yeah, we
United.
loved it. We actually used to stop in Asheville once a year for like a week or so, and that's where I would like hang out with my friend and stuff. And like, yeah, we really, really like. I mean, and for to me to hear that that area got devastated by a hurricane is like, what the? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, how
Well,
could
it
that happen?
was
everybody by surprise, I
it was
think.
beyond it was beyond devastation. I think some places. I mean, like the town of Irwin, Tennessee, which is right off the mountain from Asheville. You know, you go over the mountain and it's there. So they got all the water from the mountain came down, and it went and when it went through, it looks like if you've ever seen the old pictures of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it's the trees gone, the
Wow.
all of them gone. It just I don't know how to describe it. I've never
Yeah.
witnessed anything like that.
So on social media, you know how the trolls come out and people were like, "Well, why did they evacuate?" And there was no warning, and there was nobody would have ever dreamed that what happened. And and when that water came down, it was a combination of a mudslide and an avalanche. And
Yeah,
and so if you were in the way, you just got swept away. If you were on the road, you got swept away. You were in your car, you were gone. You were there 1 minute and gone. The road and the cars and the homes and everything just all got pummeled. It was
yeah.
it,
We got the recovery efforts here. They ended just 25 minutes ago. They ended at 11 p.m. every night. You know, I mean, because they're still in recovery mode, even though I don't I don't think anybody's alive can live through. I think right now it's just something for people, but
you know the cars that are there, they have X's on them. A red X still has a body on it, and a green X has been
okay.
cleared.
Uh,
I was wondering what those were, and the flags. What about the flags? They put up these
Um,
they put up these flags, and I don't know what they stand for, but there's hundreds of them.
yeah, and I don't know why they're not reporting what the death toll is, because Tuesday, um, I mean, I share radio stations with all the same people, and on Tuesday, the Tuesday after, they had over 900 people in body bags in the morgue. So, and
Yeah.
that's and it's been over a week
Oh yeah.
of and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of dead people, like probably 3,000 plus dead people.
so
Easy.
what's the official like the official death toll being?
I think it's like 300 or something like that now, but it's
Yeah, yeah. If you go, it depends on what you look at. Um, like the Red Cross don't. They're the best one because they don't actually put up a solid number. I think they've hit it closer to the few thousand people, and that's basically what they've said. Red Cross and even they don't. I mean, um, I I don't know FEMA, and there's so many branches here that are correlating with each other, and the helicopters flying over daily. Those Chinooks. Uh, I don't know what they're hauling in and out, but they're hauling in all kinds of gear and
they
stuff.
have they have like a pallet of water, they have a pallet of just essential supplies, and what they do is they land for a second, they shove the pallets out, and then they take off.
Yeah, because these things are
um
big, they're loud, they come right over the house.
but Bobby, so you've been here, like in North Carolina, you can kind of like, if you're down on 40 or a 26, you can look up and there's houses up on the mountains, like you have no idea how they they get up to those houses. But
Yeah.
like every one of those people, like they can't they can't leave or nobody can get to their houses because
They're just stuck.
they just either the roads are completely gone or there's just so much debris and stuff down that there's people to this day that they still don't have a way to and from their house.
See, that's kind of like my friend. So that's his situation. So but he is able to get up and down. He lives on a mountain on a bluff, and he like, like I think he like kind of cleared the road a little bit so he could like go in the town and do stuff. But like, yeah, like he did get electricity back. But I guess the big thing is water. He doesn't know when he's going to get city water back, is what he calls. And he says that's why he's got this little, because he was texting me and I was going to like actually try to find him a pump because he needed a pump to pump water from the river, whatever he's got into his house. And I was trying to like find online where I could find a pump and like ship it to him and everything. But then he ended up finding, actually, apparently, wherever he lives in Asheville, the Home Depot opened. He was able to actually just go there and buy the pump there because he had like a generator prior to all this, prior to not having power. He had like a generator going and all that, and he was able to get gasoline and kind of keep things going. But yeah, I that's unbelievable that these people. Did you hear the story about the guy that he's former law enforcement, and him and his son were like getting like rescuing people like that, but then like some fire chief
Yes,
told them, or
yes.
yeah,
So
like
he's a helicopter, and he was like the first when it all happened. He's tried to do it. The fire chief stopped him and it's like, "You're gonna get arrested if you're gonna continue to do that," which was I thought was BS. But I can see but it was kind of like more of an authority thing going on.
yeah,
Yeah,
kind
they
yeah,
I heard the radio, because the local radio interviewed that guy, and
Hmm.
they were going to arrest him for interfering with a rescue or interfering with something.
but it's kind of like to me that's kind of like I mean it's an emergency situation. The
Yeah,
the official people that are like law enforcement they're overwhelmed obviously. So
right. And but by the time they make a plan, there's people that's
right.
suffering. That's the problem.
So
The local law enforcement is so small
right.
and so static. I mean, they have no. This is beyond.
Well, that fire guy was from somewhere else,
Yeah.
right,
It's
Matt? He was he was flown from somebody else to take care of that
Yeah.
situation.
Well,
because
like so I'll give you an example. So I'm actually originally from New Orleans, and I was in New Orleans for Katrina, actually. So yeah, I've kind of been through some of this stuff. Well, in Louisiana, we have what's called the Cajun Navy. Okay, and what that is, it's like a
Yeah, they're here.
okay. So see, Cajun Navy's there. They're just it's like a club, and it's just a bunch
yeah,
of guys with boats. And when there's like an emergency, they actually go like during Katrina, they actually like deployed their boats and they were like rescuing people off their rooftops and stuff like that. So that
yeah.
to
We
me,
got
yeah, so I kind of look at the
like
helicopter guy would be kind of like that. It's sort of like the Cajun Navy, you know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I know right now that as far as just there's people that are still sandbagging. Um, Believe it or not, because water is still coming, you know, because it don't stop. It's got a new pathway now, but uh, they've had volunteers for sandbagging and amongst other things over there. It's just I've never seen anything like it. I didn't think it'd happen in the mountains right here, you know.
So
Shows you
what
not safe
so
anywhere.
what happens so what happens unfortunately is when, it's federalized and, FEMA gets involved in it. What happens is they kind of first set up a perimeter and initially only approved vendor and approved agencies get access to the area. They pretty much control the area first. And then as time goes by, they start letting other organizations get in, but it's a very controlled process. And unfortunately, when that happens, like time is, you kind of need as many people blitzing the area and saving as many people as possible, but that's kind of the opposite of what they do.
It is, but it's also, I feel like because I work for the government municipality, it's like the protocol, like because you have to know certain things in place so you can put the data in place, right? You know what's going on. You kind of have a little bit of control of the data so you can propose to it and for the FEMA, for the money, for everything. And I can see both sides of it.
Yeah, this is going to cost a lot of money. Oh, it's not even started. I mean, this is just yeah.
I know. I'm sorry, guys, but can we please switch the subject so we'll go
let's
on a really good note to bed because this is.
yeah,
I'm so sorry. It's horrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back to Bill's tank. It's
Speaking of
phenomenal.
But
speaking of
I
Bill's
think
tank,
unfortunately I'm gonna have to get going here soon because it's
Yeah.
11:30. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
getting
wrap it up
late.
pretty soon myself. My wife kind of came in
yeah,
and gave me a look like, we're going to bed soon.
I need to go to bed. Thank you
same
guys so
here.
much. Thank you guys so much. I had a blast tonight. Thank you for having
Yep.
me.
We're glad you
Yes,
joined us.
thank you. Matt Mora, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, sorry for hijacking the. I don't know how we got on the hurricane stuff, but
No, no,
It's
no,
a
no, no.
conversation. It's just how it flows.
It's my
Yeah.
fault. It's my fault, but it's all right.
No, it's not your fault.
I'll make it up.
Hey,
No,
those storms are a big deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
they were a
are.
big deal.
Yeah.
And what's happening right now is a really big deal. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go in here and see if I can trap another couple nudibranchs before I go to bed.
Dude, hunt
Do it.
nudibranchs.
Yeah.
Good luck with those nudibranchs.
Yeah, good luck with
I
that.
think leopard grasses are supposed to be very good against those as well, but they're notoriously fragile too. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna do what Matt said, and I'm just play it by side, take them out, dip them, blow them off, take them out, dip them, blow them off, and
yep,
just routine. Just get on
stop
some
their
kind of,
cycle.
yeah, I'll get some kind of routine going,
Um,
and then it'll get better. But my tank's young, just a few months old, so I'm not worried.
become the predator.
You know who
Yep.
yeah,
yep.
exactly.
Fantastic Zoom, Bobby. Good
Yep.
job. Good
Good
job,
job.
Bill,
Bill.
Bill,
Thank you.
thanks for showing your tank. Are you on any social media stuff?
Pretty much just humble fish. I mean, I look at Facebook occasionally, but you know,
He's not sharing his knowledge. That's the problem.
well,
Only on Humble Fish, but if you hit him up on Humble Fish, he's he's always willing to help or say or answer any questions.
I'm willing to help. I just have views that go against what popular wisdom is, so I tend to just keep to myself.
That's like me, just like me. Amen to that. I'll have
Yep.
you guys have a great night. I'm out of here. Have a
Good
good night.
night.
All right, have a good night.
Yeah, I got dragged back into Facebook. I actually had quit Facebook and I got totally off Facebook. And I'm like, I'm doing this.
Yeah. You can do that if you want to promote something. Come on, Bobby.
Well,
You know,
I got off Facebook and then it's like, but then the problem was because we have the Humble Fish Facebook page, and then I started doing stuff on Instagram, and so what I was trying to do is I was trying to like post stuff simultaneously on Instagram and Facebook, and that wasn't working out. So I had to like rejoin Facebook, and so I could be re-added as an admin to the Humble Fish Facebook page, so I could, yeah, and all that. So whatever.
yeah, social
I got
media is fun, right?
Well, you know what? I was cool with it, except like, okay, some days, because you know me, I can't like if somebody's gonna ask me a question, I'm gonna try to help, right? And there's some days I would go on there. This is when I got like a lot of people started friending me and whatnot, and I would have like 30
Right.
messages, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do here? Because I mean, I can't sit here and like answer 30 questions on Facebook and then go over to Humblefish, and it just like people were like getting mad at me and stuff, and I'm like, I'm like, and even like some of my staff on Humble Fish were like, you really need to be spending your
Just do disclosures like I don't accept DM. You have to go to Humble Fish.
And that's the thing. It's not like I'm trying to push everybody to Humble Fish, but on Humble Fish, I have help. I've got Vince, I've got Jeff, I've got, if I'm not around, I've got
And
other,
that's kind of like explanatory that you have to do to people. That's
right.
all.
I've got
And
other,
it's no big deal.
Just
Yeah.
leave people unread.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
what we do.
But
Right,
what I'm
Matt?
doing this time around, I'm being very, very selective as who like I'm allowing like friend requests or whatever. That way I'm not getting like anybody and everybody and it turns into this like what I was dealing with before. Because my wife
Okay, I'm gonna send you 50 messages tomorrow.
Yeah.
50 questions.
Woo! Yeah. Well, and then the people don't want to listen anyway. They're like, "What do you mean? I need to like break down I need to catch all my fish and go fallow. I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, just install a UV sterilizer or something. I mean, what am I supposed to
And
tell
pray
you?
for the best.
I
Right.
know. You wear a heart on your shoulder. That's what's the problem is.
I can't. If somebody's asking me for help, and I know like, especially a fish is at stake, I'm like, I'm
But
gonna.
there's a limit with help when it goes to above the help.
Yeah.
So you have to just kind of like put the boundaries on it.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife was finally like, you have to stop doing this because, like, you're sitting here all morning on Facebook and we got stuff to go do. I'm like, all right. All right,
Yeah.
everyone. Well, look, great Zoom, and we'll do this again in about a month, and then I'll have to coordinate with Philip. So that's the thing, Philip's in North.
Matt's gonna do his tank next month.
Okay, good. Okay.
I'm not ready. Mine's only a year old.
Well, you've got another one though, and you have the history, and you have all the other things to talk about it.
I
You have a
lost that
lot of knowledge.
I lost that copper banded though. I it was eating, acting completely fine and normal. I thought this was the best copper banded that I ever had, and I looked at it this morning and it was dead.
Really?
I have no idea what happened to it.
Was
Well,
somebody bullying it?
Nope.
oh no.
Nope. There was
That's how
nothing.
how they
Nothing
caught,
even.
right?
Yeah. Matter of fact, it was kind of like um, it was kind of taking over the tank like really quickly. It was kind of like I'm in this space and then everybody else was kind of moving around because it was kind of bigger than everybody else. And
That's really
and
weird. Was
was
it eating like everything? Like, was it eating like anything you put in the tank?
Frozen and everything. Yeah.
so it was like even in the bag. I threw some mysis shrimp in it. It was like picking a mysis shrimp in the bag. I left it out and then immediately started hunting stuff in my tank. And I saw it actively, grabbing and flicking its mouth when it gets something kind of big and orient it so it fits down. It was eating and it was taking now it wasn't taking food out of the water column, but if I let the flow go down and it sat on the bottom, it would go by and pick it up off the bottom. And I was like, I went in there thinking, all right, I'm gonna feed you first thing in the morning, and it's laying there on its side. I'm like,
So
what happened?
are you comfortable, like you still have the body? Are you comfortable doing necropsy?
I still have it. It was behind the rock work, but
So if you just, I know it's gross, but if you just like cut it open, if you cut it open, like and look at the internal organs, like I can send you like a layout of like where all their internal organs are. Look at the internal organs, and then it's not going to tell you anything definitively, right? But there's a couple of things. Um, it's a new fish, and I know a lot of copper bands come from like the Philippines and Indonesia. If the internal organs are kind of black or mushy, something happened. Like Tim, I mean, I suspect cyanide. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes
Yeah.
a fish can be exposed to cyanide. It's not an instant kill. It can sometimes take, like can take weeks or months, depending on the level of cyanide that they intook from the gills. Again, it does not prove it, but if the internal organs are not the right color, they're not that like pinkish reddish color they're supposed to be. They're like a black color. Well, then the fish had internal organ damage, and that's
yeah.
probably
And
what.
I did the methylene blue dip to it per your recommendation.
to kind of like, yeah, flood. But the thing is, that only works if it's not too far gone. If it's already got in like internal organ damage, the methylene blue will help. But that's usually one of those things where you sort of catch it like at the very beginning. So another problem with copper bands, and I've cut them open, is they sometimes have internal urinema. So like again, we're back to urinema. So urinema, like mostly you see it like on the outside of a fish. However, urinema can spread internally. It can spread intracellularly. So it can actually infect the fish's brain. It can infect their internal organs. So if you don't see the black, but if you see like white or red on the internal organs, then what you can do is then you can take a scrape of it, put it under a microscope, and see if you have urinema parasites.
So
Because
I could see. So on the left side, I couldn't see anything as far as the organs, but on the right side, behind the gills, I could see like black organs, like the kind of through the skin.
that's more than likely cyanide poisoning. At least that's my
Yeah.
theory. Something damaged the fish's internal organs, and I do know that cyanide, if once they take the intake through the gills and the cyanide enters the body, cyanide is one of those things that will damage a fish's internal organs.
Mm,
And if
yeah.
you haven't had it very long, and especially I don't know where it was sourced from, the only way you're definitely not gonna get a copper band that has not been exposed to cyanide is if you buy it from Australia, and you're gonna pay like 300-400 bucks for an Australian specimen, not quarantine. I'm just talking regular retail price. Anything from Australia is so much more expensive than anywhere else in the world because of all the practices and how just how they just the way they do things over there. It's heavily
Yeah.
regulated and everything. And
Regulated. Yeah.
but like Philippines, Indonesia, like anything pretty much goes over there.
Yeah. It's like they put the bucket in the ocean and just take the fish or do whatever. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
actually they
that's
actually
the thing.
in the 90s so in the 90s we actually like the US government Congress approved money to help like police catching fish with cyanide in the Philippines, but that money ran out like in the early 2000s. So it kind of went from like they kind of were getting it under control to the money run out. Obviously their government really doesn't have the money to fund policing all that. So it's sort
Yeah.
of like, they're kind of on the honor system. I know one collector that's really good about that is RVS Fish World. They are pretty good when it comes to, like not using cyanide to collect fish. But look, those other ones over there, I mean, look, they got to eat, right? So they've got to catch as many fish as they can, and they will use whatever techniques they have to accomplish that.
Yeah, yeah. It was in a small established system. I had plenty of Aptasia. I had plenty of like spaghetti worms or spaghetti medusa worms. There was all kinds of stuff for it to eat in that system. I had um I had a white worm culture going, and I mean I was ready for it, and it was eating, and it just didn't last long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very likely you just happen to get one that was exposed to cyanide, and it's unfortunate that sometimes I mean, some of them die right away, some of them die in transport, but then sometimes it can take weeks, it can take months. I had a copper band one time. I quarantined it for like 2 or 3 weeks. I had it for another 2 or 3 weeks, like an observation. I was actually getting ready to ship the fish out, sell it to a client, and it just same thing, just died for no reason at all. So I did a necropsy, and like, yeah, the organs, like I think the liver, the heart was like black. And I mean, I scraped it. I took I stained it. I didn't find any bacteria. I took biopsies and looked under the microscope, no parasites. The only thing I can come up with is cyanide. I don't know what else would cause it. The only other thing that could cause that would be ammonia intake. So if somewhere along the way, if the fish had been exposed to ammonia, maybe in a bag water or something, that could possibly do that as well. But I mean, I guess I'm still one of the ones that I'm like, no, I think cyanide is still pretty much, pretty prevalent in certain parts of the world to, catch fish.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
thing.
the thing is that ammonia causes gill burns and stuff,
Right.
and then you would think if it was actually got burned that it wouldn't be eating. That's the eating part is what threw me off.
Yeah. Yeah, normally when they're eating really well, you can almost kind of like, discount ammonia poisoning, but cyanide is like one of those silent killer type things that it's in the fish's body and it's sort of like a ticking time bomb. You can try to do a methylene blue bath, and if it's not too far along, if the internal organs aren't already damaged, it might reverse it. But it's sort of like, I don't want to call it a shot in the dark. It's sort of like the timing of the bath. The fish may already be too far gone, but it's worth it to still do it because I mean, I've never really had a fish have an adverse reaction to a methylene blue bath. So, to me, it's worth it to do it to the fish. So, well, sorry you lost them. They are
Yeah,
tough fish.
I mean, I looked him over pretty good. Um, he got the met. I told Russell about it. He follows you pretty. Reef Gurus, Russell.
Mhm.
Russell Lewis. He follows you pretty good. So I told him about it. He actually got it in. He did the methylene blue dip on it, per the recommendations on Humblefish, and it was doing good. He's like, that thing is eating, and he's like, that's the nicest copper bandit I've gotten in a long time. And
Mhm.
I watched it for a while, and I'm like, I'll give it a shot. And then it was in my tank for 2 days, eating and acting pretty much normal, and then just like that,
Dead.
it was dead one morning.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's got to be the poison.
more than likely. I mean, if you feel up to it, yeah, cut it open and just look at the internal organs. Send me some pictures if you want, and I can pretty much tell you if it's what I have seen before with them, and I suspect it's cyanide poisoning that causes the internal organ damage.
I'll have to do it when my wife's not home.
Yeah. Wear a mask, wear a face mask, because man, they really stink once you
Oh,
touch.
I might have to
Oh,
take it
just
to
the
work.
fish.
I gotta take it to work.
Yeah, it does stink, but so well, guys, it's been a great meeting. We'll do it again in about a month, and then we'll keep an eye out. Philip's going to be doing one on a Saturday morning. I have to get with him and find out what Saturday morning works for him, but we'll just keep doing these. And thank you again, Bill. Thank you for showing off your
Yep,
time.
no
Well,
problem.
nice to meet you finally.
Yes.
Yes.
It's always nice to put a face with the names.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you,
All
guys.
right.
Yep.
Good night.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Bye
All
bye.
right, thank you.